YouTubers and friends, thanks for joining us for another Tuesday Night Hangout Live with my good friends ToledoJess, Dano. We're going to have a really good show regardless of whatever might happen. Later on, I'll be calling Chad Watkins from Ice Cold Gold. He's high evolution. He's a high altitude dredger. And I think someone just hung up on Skype. I don't know if it was ToledoJess or Dano, but we'll see. But we got a really good show for you. We'll be talking about Gold Rush days. Jesse has a rant. And I believe we'll have our good buddy Spike Littlejohn call in and talk about a new product for y'all. And we'll see what happens, because you know how we do it here. We shoot fire from the hip and see where it goes. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tuesday Night Hangout Live. It's Tuesday night, Hangout Live. It's Tuesday night, Hangout Live. It's Tuesday night, Hangout Live. With your hosts, Ann Higelmire, ToledoJess, and Dano. Tuesday Night Hangout Live is a Flash in Your Pan production.
All right, everybody. Oh, I see Dano. Where'd Jesse go, Dano?
I don't know. I guess he didn't want to be on tonight.
Oh, well. It is what it is. I thought he had a rant, but oh, well.
He was so mad he hung up.
I guess I pissed in his beep in his Cheerios, huh? I'm sure something happened when he was heading over to YouTube or something. You know, our good pal waited till like the very last minute. That's how he can be. He's in the chat room, but he ain't on Skype. Yes, but I see a lot of familiar names in here. We have our good buddy Patrick Moore, and the Hookers are in the house. Luke Duke, David Villa. I know John Wolf's here, and our friend Mr. Tim for Gold. Hey, look, Dano's in the room, Dano.
I'm always in the room.
And Jack Tucker from Gold Fever Radio, and our friend Spike Littlejohn. We have our friends from Down Under in the house. Grati Gold Prospecting. I saw some other names in there like Kevin and Bob and Randy, Scotty, Tony. The world's famous super moderator, Mr. Lodak. And our friend Adam's cheating on us. He's over at gone digging tonight for a little bit. being interviewed, I guess. But don't go over there. Stay right here.
Being quite a celebrity, he is.
Oh, well, you know. His fire started pretty quick. You know what they say, you know.
He's all about it. He's ready to go back to California.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Getting the good gold.
Get them
And
liberals to move away so they can dredge again.
I think we have Josh from Beyond Sight and Sound in the house. I always get his and Bill's handle on YouTube messed up, but I think it's Josh.
Jesse says, I'm here, but my Skype quit.
Well, do something, Jesse. You know, Tuesday night we do this.
The show must go on.
Show must go on. And so everything has to be charged, ready to go.
He'll figure it out in a minute.
Oh, I'm sure he will. For an old goat, Jesse's pretty savvy with technology.
So he's a technical genius.
Well, David, I'm doing well. I'm pretty tired.
Doing
I
good
had
too,
a
David.
long,
We're out.
I had a long weekend. Found some color. Talked to some vets about. If Jesse was here, he could have talked about. Oh, here he comes.
Is he back?
He might be. He's back.
Jesse, you there?
Jesse's here. Eric Carter just joined us.
Am I here?
You're here, Jesse. Looks like he got it.
But I just got a message for network connection. I don't know what the heck happened. Hi.
I made it back.
I made it back. I'm here. See what I got to put up with? Wait, now I gotta hang on. Just move this out of there. There he is. Okay, so how's everybody doing tonight?
Now?
I think so. Okay. Where are we at? What are we doing?
We was just talking about the vet thing a little bit.
We were talking about the weekend and the vet thing, and
a lot of things this week and this weekend.
Busy weekend.
Yeah, we were. Before I get started, let me
get the rant on.
What are we? Time for Jesse's rant.
Well, kind of.
Do it.
It's a. Anybody remember Paul Harvey? The rest of the story.
I remember.
Good day.
Yeah, right. That guy. Yeah. He also had this thing called The Rest of the Story.
Yeah. And
last week I talked about this little kid that got bullied. He got beat up by these bullies, and I was really upset about it. And a few other people were upset about it in the chat room. But I come to find out later something that even made me more upset. Just totally PO'd me. The mom was lying. The heck is that?
Yeah, I forgot to. Hold on, it's Chad. Hey, Chad.
Okay.
Chad.
Mute his mic.
Great.
No, I didn't mute my mic. Chad. Chad.
Do it, Jesse. Talk.
Yeah, I can hear you, but I'm live right now.
Are you done? Can I finish?
Oh, it's okay.
Say, Ed, mute your phone.
Give us. Calm down, you guys, for a second. Let me get this done with. I'll call you through Skype to your cell phone, Chad, in about 30 minutes, all right? All right.
All good now? We got up and left.
Who?
You. I heard
No.
footsteps.
That was Judy going up the stairs
Oh.
with Boomat following her, I think.
All right, Jesse, do it.
Okay, I need to put this phone on live entertainment for you. I need to put this phone on airplane mode.
Murphy strikes again, David Villa says.
I usually do that. But I'll call him when we're ready. I'm sorry, Jesse.
Are we done now?
We're done.
Can I finish the rest?
See what I
of the
put up
story?
with?
Now you understand why I said. See what I put up with? So the
I'm
rest
gonna
of the
make a car
story.
that runs off water.
So, and now even Daniel's joining in. All right, stop.
I quit.
Let me finish my story here.
Do
So
it, buddy. Wear it out.
I I was thoroughly PO'd after I read a follow-up on that article. It seems that the mother was lying. Somehow the little kid fell down some steps or got hurt somehow, and mom made up this story and then put up a GoFundMe account to help pay for her son's injuries because he was bullied and beat up when it wasn't true. So I apologize for that, people. Although bullying is a bad thing. So, and now to the good stuff. This weekend we went to Gold Rush Days. We did our take a bet prospecting project. We did that over the weekend. Now, unfortunately, I had invited a few vets. I actually started off with like 5 of them. Two of them backed off about a month and a half ago, and they decided they didn't want to do this. And the other three kept saying, "Yeah, yeah, we'll be there," but they weren't there. They didn't show up. And we talked about it, thinking maybe it was because it was such a big event. They didn't want to. Might have been too much for them. I don't know. I haven't talked to them since. I will talk to them probably tomorrow. I'll find out what happened. But we still are, because our chapter is such a great chapter, the Ohio Buckeye chapter, the GPA is such a great chapter. As I let them know what was going on, what happened. They started directing veterans towards new people that just started that were veterans, and they directed them towards our event, and we took care of them. We helped them out, gave them a little bit of some swag to take home and practice fanning. We gave them a little pay dirt, but all in all, it was. If you ever watch Will Gus videos and you know what he goes through, I was pretty much going through the same thing over the weekend. I was really
Yeah,
down.
you
I was
were.
really down. I was really doubting myself. I was really bummed out about the fact they didn't show up. They didn't call me, and of course my phone doesn't work that well out there, so they didn't get a hold of me. So, but we struggled out through. We persevered, and we helped out a couple vets. So that was cool. And then, Edward there, our buddy Ed in the shed, Marvin, he wants some equipment.
Just some.
So
He wins everything.
But Sonny gave away my gold bar.
But you still get it. You'll get another.
Yeah, I know I'll get it. No worries. No worries. I just had to poke a little fun at our buddy Sonny,
Right. And then over the weekend, the GPA Gold and Treasure Show, which is coming up at the end of the month, next month, October, they did a little Facebook giveaway. You know, tag a few friends, share, comment. Ta-da! I want a bag of Felix Bader. So I don't know. I wasn't too
Yeah,
bad.
some guy tagged you in that.
Yeah, that Marvin dude. He's always tagging all that dumb stuff.
He wants a cut now.
That's what he says.
You know I don't mean it.
Yeah.
Unless it's a big 1-ounce nugget like Patrick got from him.
Well, I'll tell you what. If I get a 1-ounce nugget, you'll never know about it.
I believe it. I
I don't know what
believe
you're
it.
talking about. I didn't win that.
I got a few little flakes, but that's exciting. I was happy. But yeah, it's still we're gonna do it again. We're gonna do maybe take it a different way. We'll see.
Well,
So how was your weekend, Ed and Dana?
good. But back to, you know how our weekend was. You were with us.
But
But
they weren't. Well, Patrick was.
Patrick was. But I want to backstep a little to take of that prospecting project. We could still use like the Gold Show and Fossick and
Right.
Gold Rush to promote it and maybe even have it a part of a stand or whatever, but just not do our outings around huge functions like that.
Yeah, I think that could have been a scary thing for some people. I didn't even think about that until I was sitting there being all depressed and wondering what did I do wrong?
I know you were bummed, Jesse, but it wasn't your fault, and we did have some vets come
So
in.
it did work out. We got some
Mhm.
vets to come in.
But I tell you, they missed some absolutely killer cooking from our buddy Chef Boyardano.
We ate well. That's for sure.
And some
Yeah.
good eating. But like like we were talking about around the fire, maybe we should do it like just really intimate more outings with no one there on weekends where there ain't a lot of people, and
Right.
we bring them and then cater to them and
Right.
like we wanted to do.
And
Yeah.
that might make them more prone to want to come. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think
They might not like big crowds. We don't know. You know, we don't.
Yeah, that's all. I guess that was a chance that I took that they would be willing to do something like that, and they probably were up until the last minute. You know, I know how that can be. So, oh well, we'll do it again. We're not going to stop. I still got a lot of encouragement from some of the people there that we know, and they said, "No, man, you did good. You did good." And then
Yeah.
and then we did one more good, didn't we? And
Probably.
oh yeah, probably. After we always do good, dude. After Gold Rush days and everything was done there, Ed
Oh
and I
yeah.
went and helped our good buddy Tim Grimes with his demos that he does on Labor Day at a convalescent home.
Yeah, thank goodness we did too. If he was dependent on our buddy Dennis Dayton, he would have been SOL.
Right. So, but we just because he wasn't sure of whether he was going to have enough people, we went ahead and committed ourselves to helping him out, and like Ed said, good thing we were there. He would have had to do that with by himself. And I tell you what, I didn't know what to expect. I was talking to Ed about that. I didn't know what to expect. I mean, we've done little kids, we've done a lot of them, and we know that they have a really short attention span. Now, with the older folks, they have a longer attention span. They just have a shorter memory.
What's your name? What's your name again?
Where are you from? 2 minutes later, where'd you say you were from? I mean, but it was really cool because they were really interested in what we're doing, and they did what they could as much as they could.
Oh yeah, I had a really good time with
Yeah, it was
it.
fun.
Yeah.
Nothing like having an 80-year-old flirt with you.
And especially that one when we started talking about treasure and ghosts and
Oh
whatnot.
yeah. She was all into that. They might be listening tonight. They talked about
They
possibly putting the
did.
show on, their TV on YouTube. So for
What
those,
was the name of that place?
I don't know. Is Tim in here? You can tell us.
I haven't seen him in here yet.
No, I haven't seen him in here.
I should have it on my phone.
It was a nursing home in Ashland.
No.
Oh, I don't
it
know.
was in South Mansfield.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm my phone's in airplane mode, so I can't look up the address.
Well, it was fun. It was a good time. I didn't mind helping them. Not one bit.
And they enjoy it, having people there.
Right. Yeah, well, because I dread that part of my life coming up.
It's already there, isn't it?
Oh, well, close. I don't have the walker yet.
Yeah. But
yeah, I mean, they sit around, they do the same thing. They get up, they eat, they do their little daily activities, watch TV, eat, go to bed, get up, day in, day out. It's the only time that they can come out and do something different like this. They love it. Whether they really care about it, they don't. It's all about just being out there and doing something different.
Yep.
So, so that was cool. It was a good time.
Getting to talk to guys like you. They had a good time talking with you guys.
Oh, and the other thing too. Oh yeah, they enjoyed. That one lady, like Ed said, got all excited about. We have different people on here, and treasure hunters and stuff. And she just got all excited. Oh, I want to see that. I want to see that. And the other thing too, over the weekend, what was it? About 3 weeks ago, we talked to Kim Woodside.
yeah, let me bring you up more, Jesse. So Jesse's, and right when I bring him up, Jesse's Skype freezes. There it goes.
David Villa says, cough and disappear. Good trick, Ed.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! That's right. Was that me?
The magic of video.
Oh, did we lose Jesse again?
Oh,
There he's
he's
back.
popping in and out. You there, Jesse?
I'm here.
Okay, you were talking about Kim Woodside.
Oh yeah, Kim Woodside. We had her on a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago. But anyways, back when she was on, she said she was gonna have Wayne bring us some rocks from her ore pile. So Wayne dropped us off probably, I don't know, about a dozen or so rocks, different sizes, different types. I don't know. I don't know if you can see this. What was that, Dano? I don't know if you can see this.
Well, it's got me on the screen. I'm trying to hold your chin up. I don't know if I got my hands quite right or not.
Can you see that?
I can see it.
Oh, that's pretty. That kind of has almost like a mother of pearl look to it, like a peacock.
Well, there's a lot of
places.
Yeah, there's a lot of pyrite in it. There's also gold in it.
Yeah,
it's supposed
silver.
to be pretty rich. Silver, heavy rare earth metals. Really cool stuff. This one, I don't know what I'm gonna do with. Yeah, I think I might keep this one just, although this one will really look pretty sliced up. But so we got a whole big box of different stuff. So some of it we're probably gonna crush, some we're gonna work, some we're gonna save as specimens. Cool stuff. Thank you, Kim.
Yeah, very much. Thanks, Kim.
Yes, we appreciate it. If you're listening, she might listen to this later. You know, with her being up there with her, you know, wooden antennas and stuff.
Right, right. Way up in the outback of Ontario.
Right.
I have to.
Hopefully, we'll get up there someday and do some prospecting and hard rock mining.
Sooner than later, I hope.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Definitely.
What a delay. I was just watching a video that such a delay.
Yeah, you're always gonna have it.
I know.
As long as it's not buffering on them and just playing through, that's good.
Shouldn't be no buffering. I got green signals all the way. All the way.
Yeah.
So wanna call in
Did Jesse get his rain over yet?
Yes.
Oh, it's about the little kid. That's right. It's about the little kid.
And then we talked about the weekend a little. And
good weekend.
And talked a little about how once in every blue moon, a full blue moon or whatever it is, I may get a little lucky.
You get lucky. You and Thomas are going to start a rental business for long on prospecting equipment.
I'm nowhere near as Lucky Doug Thomas, folks. If I was that lucky, I would have won the dredge too.
Who's got a racetrack going through their house?
That was somebody with open headers going past my house.
Oh.
And the house is shut up. That tells you how loud it is.
Yeah. I guess.
Or how poor your house is insulated.
Insulated great. Maybe the old windows, but it's insulated great.
Oh, okay. It shows how loud that truck was. Wow. Yeah, we know you're not in the garage. So
it's amazing. They tore all the siding off this house and insulated it from the outside and put the siding back on, the old wood siding.
Right.
Every room I dig into is plaster and lath, but behind the plaster and lath is fiberglass bat insulation.
And they did that from the outside.
They had to. How would you cut it behind the plaster and lath?
Right.
They had to.
Right. Huh. That's actually
Patrick wants to know how the silver thumb is, Ed.
Better with this thing on it. I'm glad I listened to Jesse because I about whacked it a few times today at work. But I caught something in the room. Rich, I don't remember who won the dredge. He's a brand new member. I know
brand
that.
Brand new prospector, yep.
Brand new family member.
Right. Couldn't have been a better person winning.
Right. And from what I heard, he worked really hard out in the stream and stuff. But I don't know the name. You catch it, Jess?
Yeah, I have it here somewhere. Hang on,
he's looking.
I'm looking.
Silver Thumb's doing better, but it still looks ugly. Yeah, it's nasty. I had it breathing a few times, and I'm like, maybe I should have got stitches. I think it was so mangled up they couldn't have stitched it.
Super glue, buddy. Super glue.
Okay.
Super glue this. Ah,
It'll hold it all
Jeff,
together.
his name is, well, I don't know what his name is. His wife's name is Kelly Cruz.
Kelly Cruz.
Yeah,
His name Ted,
I'm not sure. I'm trying to see.
or was that Tom?
Tom. Could be Ted. No, she doesn't say, but the wife commented on it. He's a young couple, you know. His first piece of equipment. They just started. What a way
Yeah.
to start, huh?
Oh, that saves them a few bucks, you know.
Yeah.
And Spike Littlejohn, yes, you should have came.
No
You,
kidding.
Sat around the fire with us. We could have
you-
passed the phone to you.
That's right.
I heard you got a lot of comments on that.
I guess so. I haven't replied to none of my comments yet. It's show night, and last night I drove home, and you know, you were there going, yeah, you're never gonna get this packed in time to head up to the convalescent home, and you were right.
I don't know.
I was
Yeah,
trying to be positive,
I was
but
being positive.
and
I was
and
positive you were gonna get it done in time.
then by the time I got out of there at like 5:30, 6:30, 7:30, puts me home around 7:30-ish. I unpacked my truck and packed it up full of tools. And now I have a camper sitting in my driveway that needs to be popped up because
Well, as much as you bought and as much as you won, you looked like the Grinch that stole Christmas going home, I bet.
Oh, dude, that thing was piled high. It had a dredge, a box of
I know.
bacon. If he would have had Granny on a rocking chair up
She'd have
there, it
fit
would have
in.
looked right. Yeah,
I offered to take some for him, but he
I
wasn't
know.
going to let me haul none off for him.
Well, you know that greedy little.
Grinch is.
oh, dude,
Oh
what
no,
is
you ain't
that?
touching my stuff.
Yep, leave my stuff alone.
And then,
Whatever. I'm gonna throw something at you.
and you know what he did? You know what he did?
He says, I'll hang up on you guys.
He took my micro.
I'm gonna take my
What?
ball and go home.
He took my micro mat with him.
It wasn't on purpose. It's top secret.
Oh right. So he still took it home with him.
It's not like I did it on purpose.
You just looked at it and said, he won't notice.
No, I didn't.
How's that looking there? Good? Yeah. You got it. Looks like it'll fit in there now. Yeah.
It's
Got
well,
me off
put it in
this
the truck.
track.
It's well.
Yeah.
You're more than welcome. Come down and get it anytime.
Yeah.
We need to dredge Joe's soon, too. Now we could hammer it with 3 dredges.
Oh, yeah, no kidding.
Need to go back to Patrick's
Yeah, we do. But
and take all forces with us.
yeah.
And then the other thing too, I ran the I had. You would think, okay, I'm gonna pick on Mr. Tim now because
Oh, here we go. I know what he's
yeah,
gonna say.
okay.
yeah,
Me
he
too.
was there. You would think Mr. Tim for Gold's kids would know how to shovel or use a number 2 shovel. You would think because they go out there. They go out there all the time with them. So you would think that he would have taught them how to use the shovel. So I taught his older boy how to use a shovel to get material into it. And I let him run the Ron Adams River Raider. We set it in the creek and hit a nice spot for it and got some good flow through it, and he went to town on it. You know, once he learned how to shovel,
He was down there for quite a bit.
He was down there for a long time, all day, not all day, a few hours anyway, shoveling.
Let's say a
Him and
couple,
his
3 hours.
Yeah, him and his little buddy were down there. They were shoveling, and Sarah had them classifying and putting into a little sluice. And I said, "No, man, let's run this. You ain't got to classify. Just shovel into it. Just clean the big rocks out every once in a while." Well, and I went to it. He went to work on it, and he ran for a while, and he come over. He says, "Am I done yet?" I says, "I don't know. Are you done? Are you ready to quit?" He said, "Well, I can do a little more." I said, "Well, go ahead. You can either show us more, or you can quit. It's up to you. Whatever you want to do." "Oh, well, I'm kind of tired." I said, "All right, let's clean it out."
Yeah, it's
So
cleaned up now.
Yeah. So I showed him how to clean the mats out and everything on that because it has the green mat in it, easy to clean. Put it all in a bucket, took it up there. Mr. Tim. We take him up there, and I says, "Okay, well, you know how to pan. You're Mr. Tim's son. You know how to pan, no problem." He said, "Yeah, I know how to pan." So right away I realized I had to show him how to pan.
Tim!
I said,
Wow.
"Tim, you haven't taught me." "Oh, I don't even know how to pan." They use the water table.
Oh my goodness.
But it was fun. I got some video of him running and working his little butt off. And he got to take the gold home with him, so that made him happy. He don't mind. Sarah was telling me he don't mind working as long as he gets his cut. I said, "Don't take too much, or he won't work at all." I said,
Right.
I said, "Dude, it's all yours. Whatever gold you get, is yours."
Yep.
Yeah, there's more to be dug up, right, Jesse?
Oh yeah, that hole that we were digging has been worked on for at least the last 3 weeks. I know who built the dam, and I saw him working over there a couple times over the last 3 weeks, and and he was doing good. We worked that same hole, and we were getting good gold. I mean, for the little bits of time that we were running, no one was really working that hard. Mostly just playing around and having kids do it, and this and that. But still getting good gold out of it. He was happy. He was thrilled. So what do you think? You ready for a commercial break?
Um,
Call our friend in.
20 till 9.
yeah, let's do a quick commercial break and then call Chad in. And then we could talk to him for a little bit, and if he don't answer, we could ask Spike Littlejohn to join us.
Sounds like a wiener.
We'll be back after a word from one of our sponsors, so don't go away. All right. Well, we're back. Anyone who's just joining us now, like Katie Fuller, thank you for joining us. That's Dano and ToledoJess, and we're here for Tuesday Night Hangout Live, where right now I'm going to call Mr. Chad Watkins from Ice Cold Gold. Now, how do I make a call? I got the pad. Dano?
What am I in the middle of now?
Well, I want to make the call. I got the pad. Do
Back in the day, you would just put your finger in a little hole and spin it around.
I know.
Oh.
It gives me a phone pad, but no way to dial.
You should be able to look back at his number somehow, dude. Let me
No,
look here. Let me do a little looking.
I got it, but how do I send it?
Should be able to just click on the number and it call him, I would think.
I just did.
And it's not
Clicking
doing
on the
nothing?
number. No.
Well, dag nabbit.
Don't want to do pound. I can't even backstep on it. Huh.
Do you have his number on your phone? You look on your phone and call it from that? You know what I mean? Dial it into Skype off your phone, the number.
I don't know.
Wish I could help, but I don't have his number. Quit showing rocks, Jesse.
Here, let's try this. Hello? Oops.
Can he call you if you give him some kind of message?
If I go to the dial pad, it totally disconnects you. I have no way to do it.
What's that? Wait a minute, what's going on now?
Was
What'd
he
you do to
listening
my
to the
computer?
show? Uh-oh, what happened to Jesse's?
I'm still here, but all of a sudden my computer started doing weird shit, or weird stuff.
Beep, beep. Yeah, stuff.
Weird stuff.
I said stuff.
Well, I can't contact him at all. I'm not going to bring up Facebook, and I'm not going to turn my phone back on. And I can't figure out how to dial him and to bring him into our conversation. Because right now, I'm just adding numbers and I can't take them back. How retarded is this? And you two updated, so you won't be able to help me at all.
Well, mine is still add a person, and like you, I can bring up the dial pad. Tell me a number, I'll try to call it.
Yeah, I don't want to touch any buttons.
Well, I won't.
John here sitting in my backyard, front yard.
What's that?
I just got a message. John Belsick just mentioned my name.
I've seen he was green on Skype earlier. John was.
Here, I'll send you the number. Dano.
Okay. Let's go back to my regular Skype here. And let's see. It says it's there. Okay. Let me write it down, then I'll go back to my keypad and see if I can call it, buddy. Maybe I can get this here. Who knows?
Well, I can key it up, but then I push pound, see if that did something. No. Then I click the asterisk, and now I can't clear the number on it.
That ain't pin don't work. Aggravating. I'll find something here.
I can't clear the number on it. Press on it. No, I can't backspace on it.
Okay, let me see if I can
I
call
don't
it
want
here,
to hang up on you.
Let me see if I can call it here. Give me just a second, brother.
Okay. Please bear with us, people.
Due to technical difficulties.
We're kind of elderly. And Jesse's listening to John Belchek shout him out. Is that what you're doing, Jesse?
No, I'm dialing the number right now on Skype. That's probably what you hear.
No, Jesse just had his phone up to his ear. Now,
Oh, you
how,
can see me. That's right.
It's supposedly ringing right now, so
Yes, that's what I was doing then. I'll watch it later. I've never had anybody give me a shout out, so I wanted to hear
oh, cool.
it. Especially John Belsick, right?
Yeah, it will be there again.
Yeah, that's recorded. I
Oh,
got
then it
I got
look,
excited. Someone gave me a shout out, you know.
they don't want to call from me either, Ed. I'm pushing the little phone. It says it dialed it, but it's not. It says 3 out of 4 in the call, and it won't let me call him in.
3 out of 4?
Yeah, us, and then me trying to call him in.
Maybe it's because you don't have the plan to call a number.
That could be. I didn't think it would matter as long as it was during the show here, but hey,
Now,
I could be wrong.
how'd you call them? I have the pad up, but I can't even delete the number that's in it now.
You
And
can't
I
hit that
don't know
X
why.
button down on the bottom right.
Well, I got a keypad up. I have 5 buttons now.
Oh, okay. I got
you
all
look
kinds
on
of stuff on my keypad.
If you look on the screen, you can see it.
But yeah, it's not letting me call him in.
See, because if I push pound, it will give a asterisk or a pound or a plus a 0, and I can't take it back. Like, oops, I called the wrong one. I can't clear it. I'm gonna have to call phones. See, now it left you guys in the dark, huh?
I
No,
can't get
I
through
got
to
my
him,
lights
sir.
on.
I'm here. I hear you.
I hear you. I'm still here.
I'm Motel 6. I leave the light on.
Like I said, I'm not touching any buttons.
MacGyver muscle machine. I'm so old that I remember when the Dead Sea was only sick.
Well, here. I'm gonna.
No, don't hit the red phone. That hangs us up.
Okay.
Don't do it, Ed.
Wait,
Don't
wait,
do it. We didn't do
wait,
nothing
wait,
wrong,
wait,
man.
Wait. I might be able to do it.
He's gonna kick us off.
This is Chad.
Hey, Chad,
Hey,
how you
Chad,
doing?
We finally got on there.
There he is. Ed figured it out.
I don't know why the Skype wasn't working. I had it set up and turned on.
Well, you have to send me a contact request, and for me to add you. It won't. So I paid the money it takes to call an outside number. So here we are. but if you want to add me, good. If you want to add me or send me a contact request, just search my email address, eemarvin@gmail.com. And then I should get a contact request, and then I could bring you in on Skype that way. Either way, right now we just see a phone for you.
Okay. I'm doing that right now. It's funny, as I'm typing of it, Emily Rydell's information comes up.
Speaking of her, she'll
Turn
be
your mute
at.
off, Jesse.
I'll do that.
There you go, buddy. There you go.
Speaking of Emily Rydell, she's gonna be at the Springfield, Ohio Gold Show September 20 or October 27th and 28th.
That's in
Yep.
Springfield, Ohio, people, if you want to
Right.
come.
We're going to be rubbing elbows with Emily Rydell.
In
We'll
the
be in
panning
the panning
booth.
tub area.
Yep.
Yeah, the Felix P. Dirt panning zone.
Yep.
So if you're in the area, come say hi to us.
And
Well,
we
you
are
can-
certified
yep.
Felix panning instructors. We
Don't
have shirts that
ex-
say so.
Don't ignore us just because Emily's there.
Right.
Yeah, we're still special too.
Yeah. I mean,
Send it-
yeah. Emily Rydell's going to be there, and the world famous Flash in Your Pan is going to be there. So
Oh my God!
Send me
Now,
send me your email link real quick, and I'll search it because you're not coming up. But till then, we can
we can still
talk over
talk.
the phone.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hello, Chad. Chad. I'm ToledoJess.
How are you guys doing?
All right.
Just
the
fine,
only
great.
problem is on my end, I have only what I need to broadcast up. I'm afraid to
Gotcha.
bring anything else up in fear of eating bandwidth.
Gotcha.
So we could
E.
just
Marvin?
yeah, E. Marvin.
That's why.
Yeah, Edwin Eugene Marvin.
Prospector Joss wants to know if Chad's gold's still cold. Only Josh would think of something like that. Oh,
How are
there's
you guys
gold,
doing?
gold pay dirt
We're doing
reviews.
good. So what we got going here is we're on YouTube. Are you watching the YouTube feed or no?
I'm not watching it right now. My son is.
Okay. Okay.
Oh.
So we also our chat room is involved with this conversation. So sometimes you'll hear us respond to them or ask a question for them. You know, so I know who you are. You know, and most of us probably do. But you could tell everybody a little bit about yourself, so they have an idea who you are.
A little bit about me.
Yeah, just the good stuff. We'll get the funny stuff from your family.
Well, years ago, I started pushing close to 30 years ago. I started prospecting and mining in and around Clear Creek, and one thing led to another. A few years later, I had my own business where I had a pay to dig site and would take people out and did a little bit of guiding and outfitting, and then got contacted to do the Ice Cold Gold show, and about not even 2-3 months later, we landed in Greenland and spent time prospecting and mining there. I've been a career-long dredger, high banking, mostly a surface miner, dabble a little bit in hard rock.
Right.
Learning a little more about geology as I go along.
That must have been an experience to have a geologist there with you and learning more about what you already do. You know,
Absolutely. Eric absolutely knows his trade, and I learned a tremendous amount from him. And he kind of pointed me in some different directions, and it's been extremely worthwhile.
So it must have been kind of disappointing though to get up there and get that dredge up there and then find out you weren't able to dredge that much. You know, that had been kind of a bummer.
It was kind of a double-edged sword. I was the first person ever to dredge a ruby in Greenland, but finding places and just having the time, it was really tough.
Right.
It's so much going on, so many different places, especially that second season, and trying to get as much information and data as we could about the ruby deposit.
Yeah, that was the Ruby deposit. That was kind of a bummer what happened to you guys with that. But I know that you went up there and you were strictly going for the dredging. And most of us here like to dredge.
Yep.
Well,
And I know that what they showed on the show was only a little part of what actually was going on. Um, and I can just imagine you wanting to get in there and do more dredging, but you had to do this and had to do that. And, oh wait, we want to do that shot over again.
what? Once we got everything in the water and going, it was great. But 90% of the time we were just out there, prospecting, hands,
Right.
shovels, picks,
Right.
just doing, just a basic prospecting, which is what I'm great at. Every time I set out to find something, I haven't missed yet. It's not always as lucrative as I hope to, but
Yeah.
there's a spot my partner Matt Dambrowski and me are working now. It's a spot I prospected about a little over 10 years ago, maybe a little less, but finally getting around to it, and we put a 3-inch dredge in the water so we could dig a hole big enough to put a 5-inch dredge in the water.
Yeah. We've had to do that. Well, not that, but dig a hole so we can get our suction hose in there so we can draw water.
That's where we're at. It's a small creek, and it runs pretty much year round, but it's just not a creek suited for the bigger dredge. So we've had to kind of dig out a small pond ahead of that, and it's already starting to prove out a little bit. And just up ahead where I'm at, I know where there's a bedrock shelf. It's going to probably be 5-6 feet down, but it should be what we're looking for.
So, and where are you at? Where are you?
Colorado, I think.
Oh, you're in Colorado?
Colorado, yep. We're in Gilpin County near Blackhawk. The claim actually belongs to a buddy of mine named Jesse Peterson. He owns Vic's Gold Panning, and he is kind of he's got a tourist mine, but he's also got a working mine there. I heard from him earlier today, or yesterday. They started finding some wire silver in the mine, so they're looking at that. Plus, there's gold.
Cool.
And we're just below what used to be called the richest square mile on Earth in Central City there.
Oh, I love Central City. I lived in Idaho Springs for a while.
I spent the better part of 25 years digging claim just west Idaho Springs.
Yeah, I had a friend that worked across from the Argo mine. There's a mill up there, up on the hill, right across from it.
Yep, the Argo. Yep.
Yep. I had a friend that was when I was there. They were working the tailing piles and crushing up that ore that was there, and there was supposed to be a ton of gold still left in there, and they were crushing it and rolling it and running down the sluice. That was where. Go ahead.
That's the area I got my start.
Yeah.
About 30 years ago, when I didn't know anything about finding gold, met an old tramp miner who had the claim that we ended up working for so many years on the river. His name was Charlie Blanchard. And that guy has forgot more about hard rock mining and placer mining than any of us will ever know. And I spent summers throwing cobble for him just so I could spend a little bit of time digging on his claims. And after a couple of summers of that, he and I became really good friends, and eventually learned a lot from him. The one summer that we couldn't work the river because the runoff was one of the worst years that we'd ever seen.
Right.
We lost several sluice boxes, pumps, everything. Water came up overnight, and it rose 4 feet, took everything. It's gone. But we ended up working a tailing pile out of a drift mine that was just up below it, up above us. And I went and got 10 foot of that plastic corrugated pipe. We cut it in half and made 20-foot long sluice box. Put a punch plate and spray bar on it. Did nothing but use just started throwing all the cobble and dirt from the tailings of this drift mine, and somewhere around 30 ounces came out that summer.
Oh yeah, those guys left a lot. Those guys left a lot of gold behind in them tailing piles. I mean, they were just going for the big stuff. They didn't go for what we're going for nowadays.
Well, about
yeah,
half the pay streaks we were working in that stream were what came out of the sluice boxes in 59, 60,
right.
and on. They had some coffer dams in there, and we found evidence as we're dredging up the stream of where the poles were that were holding the old sluice boxes. And the amount of mercury in the water, as you guys have seen, and the way the big magnetite was laying down, those base streaks were, it was everything these guys lost out of sluice boxes. Those were fairly shallow, and in that spot at the height of where we were working at, we had a 10-inch in there, and we were working about 35, 40 feet deep and never hit bedrock in that spot we were chasing.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately for me, back then when I was living there, I wasn't into gold mining. And that was the first place. That was the first place I saw a nugget was in that mill that they were running. It was laying in a sloop box, So, and I can't remember the guy's name that owned the mill up there.
It's changed hands. Yeah, that I wouldn't know. It's changed hands a few times. I found my first nugget not far from Idaho Springs. That second summer, I started prospecting in an area up around St. Mary's Glacier.
So when I say, "Oh my God, road," you know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh yeah, I love it.
Oh yeah,
that's a fantastic drive.
Yeah. Oh, it is. It is a scary ride, but it is beautiful. I mean, it's just a beautiful when you go down that way. And I think isn't Glacier family mine the guy's rebuilding one of the mills down there? Is he right in there in that area?
I haven't been into Central City too much the last 2 years. So just kind of off and on since I was fired from the show. I've kind of slowed down a little bit, and just the last 2 summers really just been getting back at it. But I'm not nearly the level that I had been.
Right. Yeah, I haven't.
Kind of bad.
I was really disappointed. I was really disappointed the last time I went to Central City. It was just so built up in casinos. It just didn't look the same anymore. Just really bad.
But and I grew up. We'd go up there, and it was still a mining town. But you see that in Breckenridge, and you see that in Ryden. But there's still a lot of gold up there.
Oh yeah.
When I prospected the spot 10 years ago that we're digging now, I found I spent about 2 days, and it was just pick and pan and a shovel, and I found a couple small nuggets, a couple small flakes. There's a couple of ravines feeding down from some hard rock gold mines up above, and then the creek. That section has never been worked, so it showed more than enough promise. Just as it happens, you dig in a spot and do a little prospecting, and you make some notes about it, and then you move on, and then you get into a hotter spot, and I ended up over in Clear Creek for so many years, but really having fun with it now, and I got a great new digging partner, and we're having a lot of fun with it.
Well, that's the main thing, isn't it? Have fun. I mean,
Absolutely.
I know that I know there's people out there that oh, it's my lifestyle, it's my work, this is how I make a living. But even when I worked to make a living, I always tried to have fun. It's all
Yeah.
gotta have some fun.
And if you're trying to make a living as a as a miner and a prospector, especially a prospector, it's tough because you have really great seasons and other seasons, it's nothing.
Right. I actually just recently met some younger guys who are working towards making a living at prospecting, and that takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of effort.
Best of luck,
Whether it's
because I did it for 5 years,
right,
and there were some great summers, and I was between working a tourist spot and I had some good ground there, and on the days when I didn't have customers, I could pull gold out of the ground, and
right.
when we had people up, I had the tourists to teach Japan and spent a lot of time doing that. But now I'm back to kind of where I started, which is it's good.
Yeah. You don't have all that pressure on you anymore. It's just your own pressure, what you put on yourself.
Yeah.
So is anything you got anything in the works for the future besides just what you're doing now? I mean, you got plans to maybe do another show or that you've been approached?
Nothing right now, and I still do have an agent. She keeps an eye out, but unless you're into doing all the dating shows and things like that, for Survivor, there's not a lot that they're looking for right now, and everybody seems to be looking for, for lack of a better term, they want too much drama. They want too much of the wrong thing.
Right.
Ultimately, that was my demise on the show.
Right. That's kind of the demise of some of the shows because, like, for the most part, your typical, for lack of a better word, hobbyist or person that's a prospector, just doing it on the weekends or whenever they can. That it's totally different from what you see on TV. And a lot of us know that at this point, especially people on this channel and some of the other gold websites. They pretty much know that because we've talked to people like John Belsick and some of the other people that have been on here, and we learned that a lot of the stuff is just added drama, like from Gold Rush, it's just added drama, just because drama sells on TV.
Well, it does, but the fact of the matter is, watching people prospect is boring.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got that right.
You're looking at somebody walking along a creek or walking along a mountainside with their face looking down, picking up a rock here or there, twisting their head back and forth, and then you throw the rock away.
Right.
And when you've got a film, when you've got 3 cameras behind you and you're mic'd, and every time you bend over and look at something, you've got a producer running up going, "What are you looking at? What are you looking at?"
Oh.
The rock.
Yeah.
No, we're looking at anything different,
Right.
And when we shifted our focus in Greenland to rubies, I had to rethink a lot of the way that I prospected. The upside of that is it's changed the way that I prospect now, and I'm so much better at it.
I was going to ask you, has that made you better at being able to pick out stuff that you never noticed before?
Absolutely.
That's been there forever. I never realized what could be there. Now I know. Yeah,
Well,
gotta. So it had to been worth the effort. Had to been worth the work that you had to go through to do that show to learn that.
I would do it all over again in a heartbeat.
Yeah, cool.
It was hands down, the experience was amazing. And it was one of the toughest 2 summers that I'd ever spent. But at the same time, how many people get that opportunity?
Right. And I mean, then you had, someone like Americo, who'd never done any of that before. So that, that was probably might have been that was probably a thrill watching him get all excited.
It was. And honestly, he's a really great guy, and I don't have a bad word to say about him.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. Yeah.
He's a hell of a hard worker, and he's funny. And unfortunately, the funniest moments you'll never be able to see on camera.
Right.
At least not on public TV, but we had a blast. I would absolutely do it again in a heartbeat. But it was just the things that I learned there just added to the skill set that I've got now.
Right.
And I've still got so much more to learn. Every time you go someplace new to dig, it changes. And everybody, for example, everybody screams and yells about black sand, black sand, black sand. But you go up and dig around Fairplay and South Park near where I live, there's not a lot of black sand in that material, but there's a lot of gold in it. The black sand that you do find is silver.
Ah.
Or on the rare occasion, you find a little platinum.
Well, I didn't know there was platinum. I was told, not always, but I was told at one time that there is no platinum anywhere other than up in Canada.
Oh, BS.
Yeah, well,
I found 2 platinum nuggets in South Park, and one of those 2 was analyzed at School of Mines, and then over in Gilpin County, near Central City and Blackhawk, there's a lot of platinum in that material. It's in the Tellurides, but it's there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm a new guy. I'm a greenhorn, so I don't always know what's real and what isn't, but I keep asking, I keep learning.
I can guarantee more people have thrown away platinum because they don't know what they're looking at.
Right.
It hangs in your pan heavier than gold does.
Right. I have bought a bag of Pater from up in Canada from Gino, that he has platinum in his, and I was able to find it, because I was looking for it. So I do know what it looks like. But I just don't bother looking for it because I don't think there's any here. So.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of, honestly, before I went to Greenland, I was so focused on gold for so many years because that's what I was looking for. When we shifted the focus, and again, when I started looking around in South Park, I started looking at what does raw silver look like. And
right.
I've found, a lot of these old silver mines up in the area, a lot of them have high-grade piles that are still sitting outside that are running 60, 80, 100 ounces to the ton of silver. And some of that was considered waste when you're digging 600 ounces to the ton out in silver.
Right. Wow. Yeah.
So
was
yeah.
it
I could take
worth?
right now up to a couple times.
Yeah. Well, in Colorado there.
Yeah, we could go up. I could take you up on some tailing piles, and we can sit there and crack rocks, and you can look at silver all day long if you want.
Well, I would have to imagine what was waste back in the day with the technology we have now would be really feasible on working.
Absolutely, but when you've got in the 1800s, when you're working these big silver mines, whether it's in Leadville or near Alma and these areas, when you've got anything that's over 100 ounces to the ton, you've got anything under that is waste. It's not worth sending to the mill
Right.
because of expense and time. And when a mill, when a mill's 15 miles away over, an insane mountain range, you're only going to send the high grade stuff over, and that stuff is 600 plus to the ton of silver, with gold as a byproduct. It's a lot of prospecting comes back to reading and just research.
Right.
See what these guys were looking at back then.
Hard
There's a lot of
hard for me to imagine gold as a byproduct.
Well, kind of a funny story back in 1859, 60, 70, when the big mines were open in Leadville, and the Silver King group behind everybody, they're sending all their ore over to Alma, Colorado to be milled. Well,
Right.
in Alma, they figured out pretty quickly that there was a lot of gold in that, but they didn't report it for a long time. It wasn't until the mine owners realized that they had gold. And there's a lot of gold in those silver mine dumps up there. Unfortunately, it's all private property, and because of things that have gone on in the past, you can't go up there and prospect anymore. But there's still a lot of free gold sitting in that material out there.
So, are there still places that you can go to? I mean, besides the private properties?
Yeah, in Colorado, there's so many great places to still go and find you can pan, and some places you can dredge, high bank. I stick to private property anymore and patented claims, because I don't like being told what I can and can't do. If I need, if where I'm digging warrants putting in, an 8 or 10 inch dredge, then I can. And if it doesn't, I don't have to.
So
a lot of times a high banker and a 3-inch dredge will do you great.
So how big is your biggest dredge?
Right now, we've got a really old Keen 5-inch, and it's the old triple sluice design where you've got the sluice box on either side, left and right. I love the old Keen equipment, and they've been putting out a great product forever. I don't think I've ever had a problem. I don't think I've ever had a problem with anything that Pat Keen's ever put on market.
Oh.
Over the years, I've used a few other products. Some I've liked, some I won't use anymore for personal reasons, not because.
I think we all have that problem or situation.
But I tend to, I know one of the best sluice boxes I ever used, hands down, and it was an old dredge again that my one of my mentors built, and it was just the old crash box design, but he built that, and I have never seen a sluice box hold on to gold like this thing. And unfortunately, it got swept downstream, and it's buried somewhere under Clear Creek somewhere. I have a suspicion I know where it's at, but getting it and getting down to where it would be now, I'd need another 10-inch dredge in there just to move enough material to get it.
Right. Do you have chickens?
We're down to 9, 10 of them. Yeah, they're out there.
Yeah. Okay. Here what's that? I hear chickens in the back.
I thought it might have been Dana. I thought it might have been Dana's new text sound or something.
No, that's a duck, buddy. It quacks. Cluck.
Yeah. We had our flock wiped out a little over a year ago, and about 6 months ago. We finally broke down and got some more, so here we are.
Oh, okay. I kept hearing chickens. I'm going, where's that coming from?
I was
I'm
thinking
standing out
the
on my
same
deck.
thing.
'Cause I live outside of Bailey, Colorado, kind of on the backside of Mount Evans. We're up in the mountains, about 10 miles off the highway.
Right. I used to love riding around there, going all over, fishing in the creek, or fishing down there up at Georgetown Dam.
Yeah.
Unload nice trout in there.
So if you're from Georgetown, if you were to head southeast directly over the mountains, Georgetown's probably about 25 miles from my house as the crow flies. But there's no direct route from there. I'm up Highway 285, kind of on the other side of that divide. Idaho Springs is almost directly opposite of where I live.
Huh.
A few
Okay.
miles off.
Okay. Yeah, I really liked it. I loved it up there. Beautiful.
We've got some old stories back in the area where we're at. There is gold here. During the Depression, there was an old guy, and I've verified the story a few different ways, that somewhere up behind me there was an old boy working a claim somewhere. Nobody knows, but it was all he was panning gold, and back then he was taking $15 to $30 a day out of there, just enough to survive, and nobody's found that spot yet. But there's also a lot of we're more well known in this area for the crystals that we've got, smoky quartz,
Right.
Amethyst, a little bit of aquamarine.
Right, aquamarine, all that. Right. Antero?
No, this is right in my backyard outside of Bailey, Colorado.
Yeah. I keep our buddy Luke Duke here has a question he's been asking over and over again. So I'll ask it for him. He wants to know what kind of matting you use in your dredge.
What kind of what?
Matting.
Use.
I'm a big fan. So I kind of like. I've always done it the old school way, where I put the nice green carpet in the bottom of it, in the sluice box, and then the miner's moss on top of it. Since I started using the miner's moss, it's been solid for me.
Yeah, that your ripples and everything else, right? Just your basic setup.
Yep.
Okay. There you go.
Depending where I'm digging in the header box, I'll put some of the ribbed matting. Sometimes I'll put miner's moss in the headers box. It just depends on what kind of material and where I'm working.
Right.
Right. If we've got a high banker going, at the very top of the high banker box, I don't put anything. But then I start with the ribbed matting a little bit further down, and then the green carpet and moss. And
so Luke Duke says, old school, huh?
You don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
It's been worked, and
maybe he's from Canada, and that'd be old school, eh?
No. I think Luke's from Indiana.
Oh, okay.
Now, Chad, do you prefer a crash box over a jet flare?
Honestly, I really, really used to love that design, and I still love it. You can't really find too many of the dredges with it anymore, and the high bank, well, especially the dredges. But the cane that we're working now, the 5-inch, it's got the old crash box. I love it. I like the way that it pushes the material back, and it seems to spread it out a little better. But that's just me. I tend to run my sluice boxes as fast and as flat as I can get them, it's not always possible depending on water flow and whether you're working a stream sluice or not. But I really like the old crash boxes.
I have to agree with you on the crash boxes. I prefer them over the jet flare myself. How's that, Jaron?
The big reason for me is that, and the dredge we've got, it's got a jet on it, but it's still working into a crash box. If you cavitate that hose and suck air, then what happens is you've got that fire hose that's spraying out across your sluice box, and it has a tendency to just spray everything out the bottom of it.
Not good.
I can tell you, I've probably lost as much gold over the years as I've found. When I first got started and before I really learned how to set up a box or sluice box, and
Right.
even it's too steep or too fast or everything that just all the rookie mistakes. You just dump gold back into the river.
Fortunately,
it's there for somebody else.
Right. I was gonna say it'll be there for somebody else.
You throw those little nuggets back, and a few years later, they grow up and become big nuggets.
Yeah.
Don't we?
I tried that. It don't work. It's a lie. That's something I found out for sure. Because I found a little flake and I threw it back in the water and actually put it in a little fish bowl, and it didn't grow. It just laid there.
That's why you threw it back into a fish bowl and not into its natural environment.
Ah, okay. I'll
Now-
try that next time.
It didn't
Now-
have the proper
That's the difference.
nutrients.
It's got to be out there with its own kind.
Yeah, okay.
Now
My
you know,
mistake.
Jesse.
My
Chad, what was your most scariest experience so far in your career of dredging?
Of dredging, that would probably be there was the one year that we were working in Clear Creek. We had a hole that was bank to bank on Clear Creek, which is probably at the time it was probably 50 feet across, and we were down about 45 to 50 feet deep, and probably the hole was probably 30 or 40 yards long. We'd gotten in there with a backhoe and moved a lot of material so we could get deeper. And in the head wall, 15, 20 feet down, there's boulders that were the size of Volkswagens. And without warning, these things would just come down. You wouldn't see it. You would hear it hit the bottom, and that was it.
That's gotta be a scary sound. Hearing a boulder, big old Volkswagen-sized boulder, come down behind you, even when you're underwater.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
and at the time, I'd lost. There was one summer, and I still have the hat, but we were up there prospecting, and it was not quite high flow. It just started to come down, but a wind gust took my hat off, and I dove into the creek after my hat, not even thinking about it. And I got out of Clear Creek about a mile downstream, and I never should have done that. I would have. By all rights, by all rights, they should have found my body down in Golden. So, but I still have that hat.
Well, that's good. At least you can retrieve the hat. Mr. Luke here has another question. Wants to know if you ever tried the Gold Hog mat or the Dream mat. Somebody responded back, "No, he's old school." Probably not.
I've got a couple friends that actually use the Gold Hog mat and really love it. I just haven't really had a chance to try it. I've still got so much of the other stuff left over that I haven't had to switch anything over.
Right. Yeah,
I
and like with
I
us, we use the Dream app for most of our equipment. Yeah, so much easier to clean out. But we're not here to talk about that. I mean, I could for an hour or so, but we're not.
I'm always open to trying, new products and little bits and stuff here and there.
Right.
Believe me, if I knew everything there was about prospecting, I probably wouldn't be talking to you guys right now. I'd be retired someplace on an island with a big pile of gold. But that
Yeah, we all would be.
That second that you think you know it all, or know more than anybody, it's time to quit, because there's people that have been doing this a lot less longer than I have, that I've learned things from.
Right.
And
every day I'm learning something new. Every day I'm learning something new. And I'm as old as dirt. So.
I had a guy show up on my claim in near Fairplay, and he introduced himself, and he told me that he was a wizard, and by the looks of him, and I'm not going to argue with the guy, and he had to look at everything, but I spent a few hours talking to him and got to know him a little bit, and he taught me a couple things and pointed me in some directions, especially up there, that I hadn't thought of. And sure enough, I was finding gold based on his information.
Right.
So, don't discount anything that, as crazy as it sounds sometimes. There's been people doing this a lot longer than me.
So how long have you been prospecting?
This is about my 30th year at it now.
Yeah. Now this is like my 6th year. So I'm a greenhorn. But that's okay, because I'm learning every day, and I'm having fun.
And if I've done most of my digging in Colorado in and around. I've spent some time in Montana, but even when you go to a new creek or new area to start digging, you kind of have to start from scratch, because the way the gold looks, where it lies, where it came from, it's all a different new source. So you've got to start from scratch.
Right.
It took me a long time to realize in South Park that you're going to find a lot of gold, but you're not going to see the amount of black sand that you're used to. It's just not there.
Like you would have out in the West Coast on the beaches and stuff.
Yeah, a lot of the areas in South Park, there were the glaciers had carved out the two big gulches up there, and Mosquito Gulch, and it just was a big bulldozer. It carved everything and pushed it out across South Park. And then as it melted and receded.
Right. So your gold is glacial gold also? You don't have low
No,
gold there?
they have lode probably in glacial, like Washington does.
Yeah, and up in the area like the Phillips lode, when they discovered it, it was a golden quartz deposit on the surface, but most of that lode had been scattered by the glaciers, and they took millions out of that. A lot of the gold that you find in South Park, especially out in the plain and the creeks and everything, that was Phillips lode.
Ooh.
So plus there's some prehistoric sources that nobody knows the source of. Places like Pennsylvania Mountain, where they found the turtle nugget, that was prehistoric gold. It was there long before anything, long before the mountains were there. If you Google the turtle nugget, and it's in the Denver Museum of Nature and Science, it's one of the largest found. Kid was walking along and just kind of kicked it one day up on the mountain, and there it was. So
It seems to me I remember hearing that happen at the Argo mine too in the parking lot. Kid found a 2 or 3 ounce nugget in a rock. Kicked the rock in the parking lot, and it didn't seem right to him. He picked it up and it was really heavy. And they broke it open, or either broke it open or did something to it. But they found it had a big old nugget in it in the parking lot.
Yeah. So the claim that we were working in Idaho Springs, we know for a fact that there were at least 7 separate sources of gold on the material we were working, because we found a lot of gold still in matrix over the years.
Right.
You know, a lot of flake, a lot of nugget, a lot of flour. You know, between all the separate mines and everything but we know just from looking at it, there was at least 7 different sources. And one of the lode sources, there's a vein running through that creek somewhere not far from where we were at. Because that broken up quartz, you know, gold doesn't stay in that long, especially when it's tumbling along. But when you start seeing it in your sluice box when you're cleaning up,
right,
you know, you're on some vein material somewhere.
Oh, I see. Now I got you pulled up on my Google map here. So I'm trying to figure out where Fairplay was from where I was in Idaho Springs. You're right down the road, or around the peak.
But I've pretty much spent most of my career at it, prospecting up and down.
Right.
From Idaho Springs west, and then over into Fairplay. I've done a little over in Breckenridge, and then up on the Mosquito Range. And sometimes you just got to get out of the creeks and start walking the hillsides up there. But again, a lot of that's private property now, so you really can't go up there unless you have permission. And now, back in Gilpin and up around Central City and Blackhawk.
Blackhawk.
If you get to know somebody that owns some claims, and you're polite and actually spend some time, you'd be surprised how open some people are.
Right.
Like Jesse, the guy where I'm working now, Vic's Gold Panning has been there for 50 years, and it was the mines have been up there since 1859. And Jesse's owned that property forever. He's an amazing wealth of information about mining, especially on his property. He knows more than most of the geologists in the area. But that said, he's had a few geologists come up and show him something that he's missed over the years. And you can, if you Google Vic's Gold Panning, if you're in Colorado, stop in and see Jesse.
Wow, that place. I'm looking at the map right now. I know Springs. I haven't looked at it in a long time on Google Earth. It hasn't changed a whole lot.
No, it hasn't. And we were just on the west side of town, not quite a mile.
Oh wait, it's got a Starbucks.
And we had a mile of river to work.
Oh wait, actually it has changed a lot now that I look at it. McDonald's, Redbox, Starbucks, Carl's Jr. None of that was there. When I was there. None of that was there.
Hey, Chad.
No, the footprint of the town hasn't grown much.
No, right. But they've torn down a bunch of stuff right when you come into town. In fact, where that Allied Towing is now, I used to work for a guy named Bob Monday there a long time ago. This would have been.
If you're ever in Idaho Springs, ask around and look up a man named Ken Reed. He knows as much about prospecting and digging in that area as anybody, and I spent a lot of years in the river with Ken, and he's a great guy and a great source of information. A little scary to look at. He's a big guy. He's what you'd expect a mountain to look like. And I've got stories about Ken over the years, but he's
Hey,
good
Chad,
people, definitely.
we got
Yes,
a
sir.
couple questions in the room. Let me do a quick commercial break and I'll get to those questions and maybe open up the phone lines.
Sure. Let me
All
grab
right.
I'll grab a charger in the meantime and plug in.
All right.
Right.
We're going to take a quick commercial break from one of our sponsors, so stick around. We'll be right back with Chad Watkins, Ice Cold Gold. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
Adventure, mystery, discovery. Gold panning is more than a search of beautiful rocks. Panning is a journey that can take you to amazing new places all around the world.
Are you guys there?
It is an experience for all ages, bringing
Yeah,
families
we're
closer together
commercial on.
and fulfilling a spark of excitement when
wanna-
life has grown too dull. The Gold Claw pan makes it easier to take part in the journey than ever before. This expertly designed pan is made for any skill level and any age.
Switch over.
All you need is an explorer's heart and the passion for discovery. Begin your family's gold story now. Order your Gold Claw pan today and see where the adventure takes you.
All right, we're back. Hold on a second. Talk about something, Jesse. Jesse, you're mute on.
He's muted.
I'm muted.
There you go.
I was sitting here
I was
talking
too.
away.
I was
Trying
trying
to-
to talk.
Yeah, trying to, keep it from having dead air, and my mute is on. Anyways, I was saying I was trying to find the mill where my buddy works. Now I got a good shot. There's the Argo. This place has really changed a lot, actually.
I believe it. Well, when Chad comes back, I'll ask him a few questions that were in the room, but Beverly asked, do you ever go to Thermal City, North Carolina? The three of us have been there.
Yep.
Yep.
I have never been there.
We ran the troll
I've been to North
today.
It's
I've been to North Carolina.
Yeah, it's a pay to play place. So it's fun. I like going there. It's a nice campfire.
The pay to dig sites are always good.
Well, you're gonna get gold, right?
Absolutely. And it takes the guesswork out of prospecting.
Well, Ed and I also have a little theory about that too. we went there. We go, okay, let's do this. We'll just pay the $10 and we'll pan, right? And we'll just go to the painting shop and just pan. They got a nice little pile there. We can pan real quick and just start dumping material and gathering it up, right? So we're doing that, and we're not really finding anything. I'm finding a few little pieces here and there. Not finding. We're there for a couple hours, and I look at Ed. I said, Ed, do you know why we're still standing here after all this time? He goes,
Because
"No,
we paid.
because we paid to stand here and not get any gold." I said, if we would have been on the creek and we would have done this bad, we'd have been moving. But we paid, so we're gonna stay.
When I was in that business, I would put people on good ground. But it was spots that I had prospected and continued to dig out myself.
Right.
I never would guarantee somebody that they would find gold. And
Well, it's not that you couldn't find gold there. I mean, when we ran their trauma, we did all right. When I dug in their creek, I did okay. But when we were at the painting station, that was a different story. We $10 is it ain't much, but we paid $10, so we're gonna stay there until we get our $10 worth. even if we don't get our $10, we're gonna stay there anyways.
It's hard for me sometimes, especially if I'm going to some place and they have the dirt already set up for you to pan, especially if you're panning into a trough, for me not to stand there and start cleaning up. I'll
Right.
dig out of the bottom of the trough and go through the stuff that everybody else has already panned. A lot of times, people are if they're just learning how to pan, they're throwing more gold out than they're keeping.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, see, the thing that they do, they don't empty their troughs right away either. They let them get full. So it's just too much work to try to get all that gold out of the top.
I've got a couple of vials of stuff that's all it is stuff that's come out of panning troughs.
Cool.
But I don't really count that as the stuff I dig when I'm prospecting and mining. Over the years, I've sold most of what I've dug out of the ground. You can't make a living at it if you're just keeping it on the shelf.
Right.
True.
There's a lot of special pieces that I've got. The one thing I wished I still had was that ruby that I dredged out in Greenland, but unfortunately, that's sitting. I have no idea where that is anymore.
Now there was a question.
Bureaucrat's office.
there was a question in the room. I'm looking for it right now, and it was just about if you brought home any gold from Greenland, or how much gold did you actually find in Greenland? Something like that, but I can't find it now in chat.
The first season, I personally found a little bit of gold, and it wasn't enough. It was enough to make a little stringer in the pan, and it was one of my last trips before the snow came in and everything started freezing up. And some friends have actually been back to that spot since then and still find a little gold on it. That spot's it's a stringer. There's a known gold mine 10, 20 miles from that spot. So, this was a stringer probably off of that site. But it was just one of those things. Eric, our geologist, so the first season when we were on Nuke, there was a spot that we were prospecting towards when we ran out of time and got sidetracked with the ruby deposit that we were working towards, that we were probably, as the crow flies, we were less than a mile from this spot. If we had been able to continue on to where we wanted to go, there was an absolutely unique ruby deposit up there. These crystals were 10, 16 inches long, beautiful. Eric, our geologist, actually brought me back some specimens that he was able to legally obtain. This was after the show that he got. But in terms of anything that when we were on the show, because of the laws between Greenland and Denmark, we weren't able to bring anything out of the country at that time. So nothing that we found there got brought home.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. But
that sucks.
I found it. I said I was going to go there and find gold, and I did.
But
the next
now,
season, I'm going to drop a dredge in the middle of Greenland and find rubies, and I did.
That's cool. Now, Patrick Moore, he asks, do you do any winter prospecting or mining?
Yes. So especially when we're working a river or, even the creeks, if we're dredging in the summer, and especially the bigger creeks and rivers, I get out, and when the hard freeze comes, I get out and start walking the areas that we're digging in. And I look in those spots to see where the water is still moving. And where those creeks are still moving in the river, that's those spots tend to hold the bigger gold. So in the springtime before runoff hits, once the ice breaks, I map those spots and I get in there, and those are the spots I like to dredge first because they've been moving all winter long and bringing material down.
Right.
So you start ripping up those areas. Depending on the winter, and I can't really recommend this to people because if you don't have the experience and the knowledge, working underground is much better in the wintertime because you can, the temperature never changes.
Right.
If there's not a lot of snow and ice and it's not been a heavy year, we'll switch over and use suction nozzles and dry dredge. And you're only working in 2 or 3 inches of water, and as long as your sluice box isn't freezing up, you can work through a lot of the winter. Once that ice starts forming in your sluice box, you got to shut it down because you're losing gold.
Right. Hope that answers your question, Patrick.
And people, and if people have any other questions about what I do, or how I do things, they can go to my Facebook page. It's Tin Pan Chad. I'm easy to find. And shoot me a message there. Sometimes it may take me a couple days to get back, but
you say tin?
Post.
Did you say Tin Pan?
Yep. It used to be Ice Cold Gold Chad, and that still might get you to where I'm at. But if you put Tin Pan Chad, TINPAN Chad, that'll get you to where I'm at. And I haven't been posting as much lately as I should be, but there's some pictures from this digging season that we've got up there. Me and Matt, my digging buddy now, and I'll get some more pictures here. We're hoping to get a lot of more days in before it starts to freeze and get too cold here, but I think we're in for a snowy winter here in Colorado this year.
Is this you? The X-body spray explosion? No,
that's not me.
That's not you.
Oh God, no! I wouldn't be caught dead wearing Axe body spray. On Facebook, it's just TINPAN.
Got it. I found it.
And then also
it's 2 words.
Yep, and Tin Pan Mining Company. That's my business as well. But I just kind of have backed off the guiding and doing that stuff lately. I just haven't had the time. Aside from all that I'm doing now, my wife and I own a veterinary clinic not far from our house here, so that takes up a lot of time as well.
Right. Are you still sporting that beard?
I am.
Okay, good.
It's a little bit longer now. There's some recent pictures on the webpage.
I'm looking at the one from July 8th.
Yeah.
You're sporting a big beard there. Get your dredge in the water.
That's the 3-inch that we're digging the hole. We dug the hole to get the 5-inch on.
Ah, okay. Got some little kid there. Got him working, doing some slave labor.
That would be it would be Matt's son Keegan and my son Orion.
It's so much fun watching kids do this. Get out there and play in the water and in the creeks and getting their hands off the video games and stuff.
Ryan, my son learned to walk on a tailing pile.
Wanted to walk on one?
He learned to walk on a tailing pile.
Oh, he learned to walk on. Okay. He's been walking on tailing piles all his life. That's cool. So yeah, I see you got a shop on here.
I think his phone got dropped, Jesse.
Oh, I'm not talking to him anymore?
No.
No,
We lost him?
we lost him.
Looks like it, Dano. Now I'll get back to a question directed to me about my grandma. Who asked it though?
What's your grandma?
Well, up north of Santa Cruz is a very well-known beach, Half Moon Beach.
Uh-huh.
It's up by Mavericks, world famous surf break. Good surf, Santa Cruz and all up there though. But who was it? I forget who said it. Oh, it was DSI Deacon at Moonstone Beach. I was thinking of Half Moon Beach. But my mother grew up in Aptos, where my grandfather and grandma was. And my grandma used to talk about how they would placer mine Monterey Bay. And he asked, did she find gold? No, but she's seen it down on the beach in the mining operations. And I wouldn't doubt it one bit, you know. California, it's no different than like Nome or the Washington Coast beaches and Gold Beach in Oregon. I'm sure there's gold in Newport and Huntington, so. Now, I texted him my email, so I don't know, guys. I don't know if I'm gonna call him back.
See if he calls you back. You texted him your email, right? You just said that.
Yeah, so if he can, everyone else have been able to get me on Skype through that. So I'm gonna call in our friend who has a brand new product out, if he's still on, and he's on. I'm gonna call in our friend Spike Littlejohn. He has a new product out, and we need to give him a hard time about not coming to Gold Rush days, because he was down at the Loud Mine, I believe, in, oh wait, here, oops. Chad's calling back.
I'm back.
All right, Chad. Phone dropped you. Hey, Spike, you there? Spike.
This is Chad.
I know, Chad.
Oh.
Hold on, buddy. Welcome back, Chad.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
Cell service. It happens.
Murphy.
Murphy.
Our old buddy Murphy's been hit and miss tonight.
Well, at least
I had technology.
Yeah,
Hey,
it will do it.
You got that right. Technology.
Well, my old high school teacher used to say, you know, if you don't study, what are you going to do? Especially in math, what are you going to do? Carry a calculator with you everywhere? And Look at today. Everybody's got a smartphone in their pocket, and I've got a scientific calculator with me everywhere I go.
Right.
Right.
Oh, and do you wear a watch anymore?
I don't.
Right.
Although when I'm going to be out prospecting and away from everything, I still have a pocket watch that I carry.
Just in case you want to know what time it was.
Right.
Yeah, because even the phones that you hardly see people with watches anymore. They got it on their
Nope.
phone. Yeah, so I was looking at your Facebook page. I think I just joined it. Did you accept me as a friend or no? Let's see.
You're still certain
I
messing
like it.
around on his page, huh?
Oh yeah. Maybe the only time I ever looked at it. I don't know. Actually,
Well,
I already had it liked, so I obviously been here before.
do me a little favor and hold on just a little bit, Chad. I have
Yes,
Spike Littlejohn on the phone now. I brought in while we were kind of waiting to see if you'd call back. And he has a brand new drop riffle high banker that he's introducing with Spike Strike mining equipment. And I'd like him to give a little introduction of it and say what he would like to say if you don't mind.
absolutely.
You still there, Spike?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Hey,
Yeah,
Spike.
we hear you fine, my friend.
I'm
Floor.
I was going. Okay, I was going to try to turn the camera on, but I don't seem to be able to find a way to do that.
Oh, there should be a button there with a video camera with a line through it. You need to punch or click.
Jesse just disappeared now.
No, yep, you're right. Spike,
There he's back.
you've done this before. You've
Hey,
done this
guys,
before.
I'm looking at the little line in the box of the camera, and I put it, and nothing happens.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
So I hit the button, and nothing happens.
Well,
We'll
it's,
just have to do it the Saxon way.
Yeah. You mean talk?
yeah. Yeah. So the floor's all yours for a little bit, Spike.
Okay, guys. Well, I took my new high banker down. Okay, I took my new high banker down and tried it out at. Oh Lord, I'm playing echoes to myself.
Oh no.
Yeah, can't stand that. I had enough already.
You're acting like a newbie here now. You've been here before.
I can't even find the button anymore, guys.
At least it isn't
Yeah, I
all.
see the rock. I see your rock.
See my rock?
Yeah.
Pretty
Okay.
rock. Did it figure it out? So talk to us. Tell us what you got.
1 second. Let me mute part of this. Yeah, I'm trying to shut somebody. Got to shut somebody up around here. Okay, can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me now? And I'm ready to start.
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, brother. Okay, what I've done is I took the new 12-inch wide high banker that I've been working on, and
And
Okay, I'm back. What I did is I put a box on top, and it's the one some of y'all seen a couple of weeks ago. I've changed the grizzly on it 3 times, and we took it to Loudmine where they had a lot of clay, and we ran it, and the testing was just unbelievably good. We found one speck out of 40 buckets, and that one little speck I'm not sure wasn't stuck in a pan or a tub when we started. So, but that was the only speck we found in the whole deal. We've done a lot of testing with some lead again and tested that. I put new pictures on my website tonight for people to look at, and it's on my Facebook and that kind of deal. And I wish my camera would come on right now because I would show y'all this thing sitting on the other side of the room over here. Y'all were talking about the crash box, and I've actually yesterday I got a nozzle for a hydroforce nozzle, and I'm building a crash box to put on top of one of these and see how much water it can stand and what I have to do to the ripples to make that work. And I'll be taking that to let me see, we'll go to Oconee Camp for a little demo day Saturday. And next weekend, I'll be hanging out with some buddies, your buddies from the Gold Prospector Space Radio group. And after that, I'm coming up to Ohio to see all of y'all at the Gold Show. And I really wished I'd have come up for the event because it was not a very big crowd down at Loudmine. You know, it wasn't as big as I would have liked. And I like newbies. I like people that are trying to learn. The people that are trying to learn is what my equipment is really for. You know, it's
Right.
you buy into a system more than just equipment when you buy my stuff. Y'all know that once you get into it. So
Right. Yeah, we had your stuff out there. We had it out displaying it.
yeah,
Playing with it.
I had the sluice and the gold ram and also the TubeBuddy.
yeah, how'd your
with-
tubby do?
I didn't run a lot of material through it.
Well, here's what we did down at the camp. We had an outing with about 60 people on it. And then, you know, we were running one of my high bankers in line with everybody else's, you know, it was one of the docks over there, or 2 of the docks to go long ones. And, you know, everything else was spread around. Old King had been modified to death. Old Pat would have a heart attack. If y'all know Pat about how he feels about you modifying his machines. Okay.
Yeah.
But also, we run one of them on the common. And then also we took all the material and we brought it over and they screened it down. And then we run it through my tubby machine. Then we run it through their 2 gold hog mini sluices. One set up, you know, for one direction, one for the scrubber and whatever. And when they ran my tail ends, they found nothing, and I found their tail ends, and I got 5 and 6 pieces on the runs that I did. So, you know, they're trying. It's just the same thing. I mean, I'm trying to get every little piece down to 200 mesh, and some other people's philosophy is let's run it till it spits gold and then slow down. I don't believe in that. So, like I say, we just tried to do it right and make it work. And if you'll take care of that thing and set it up on the right angles, I promise you it's working to death. Up at the LDMA or GPA, they're having their dredge camp this weekend up in Tennessee. And they've got one to do their cleanup with up there. So I'm waiting to see how that works out. So,
Cool.
most of it's worked out good. How'd y'all like the tubbies? I mean the gold rams after you got a little time with them.
Well, to be honest with you, we didn't get a whole lot of prospecting done ourselves.
We were working.
Yeah, we wind up working these events more than we get to play.
Well, I left and went to Loudmine a week early, and after I got there, I realized I was a week early. And that's how messed up my mind was from the things that was going on around me. You know, I'd lost a friend and, you know, just crazy things like that. And I guess I really needed the time away because I left a week early without meaning to. And that week I spent to making my back hurt, that's for sure, hauling 2 buckets at a time to that high banker and running it. So I had a good week. I mean, I got a lot of gold the first week I was there. And then the next week I just kind of hung around, sold stuff. And if you ever an event with Spike, you never know. I sell sweet tea that's unbelievable. You have to try it out sometime.
Oh, see?
See,
Yeah, you
well,
should have came up there.
Could have sold sweet tea and your
Lemonade.
product.
I had lemonade too, brother. I'll be there next year. Don't you worry. Bill from Carolina Prospecting carries some of my stuff. I don't know if he had any when he got there or not, but
He did. He did.
okay. But Todd's about sold out over at his shop. I got to take him some more this week. We just talked yesterday, so I got to get Todd Martin another batch over to the shop. And like I say, we're just trying to get it out there and let people see. But the big part on the new high banker is you hook a smallest pump, well, a 1.5 to 2 inch pump to it, and $375 for the whole high banker is what the cost is once you put your pump to it. So I decided that if Angus wanted 600, I'd sell one for 375 and see how that worked out, which is exactly what the big sluice from California Sluice Box sold for years ago when we sold those, as a dealer. So I'm going to try that price and see how long I can keep it at that. And they come with a heavy frame, all anodized parts. I started something new. I'm a powder coater now, people.
Uh-oh.
Yep. I learned to powder coat.
If you ever make it out this way, I got a great place to check it for fine gold recovery.
Well, how about Nome Beach Gold 200 mesh? And I had a big old bucket full of it I run through, and I think it caught every piece of it. So, during the testing, that's what we do. We run lead, and then after I run lead, then I start running real fine gold, and then I know it's going to catch big gold. I mean, anybody can catch big gold. So I'll throw a couple of pieces in just to watch it and see where it stops. And that tubbing machine that you took up there, you can set that up, and that'll compare to a gold cube any day of the week. But you don't have to add a nugget trap to it. You don't have to add a screen to it. You don't have to really add anything. Just throttle the valve down and feed material, and it'll do the job. So $229, I think they are, compared to what a gold cube costs, and there's nothing to add on. So, like I say, I know I'm taking up too much time, so I'm gonna get out of your way. But y'all go to my website or to my Facebook and look around and look at the new machine and get an idea of it. I got a picture of it running with the water flowing through it. The couple that bought it, if you look at them on the video I done of them, the one thing he says is, my wife loves it. She don't get wet running that machine.
Yeah,
it just doesn't get you wet.
I watched that video today, Spike.
Thank you, Ed. I was hoping you'd
bring
see
one
that.
out. I got a spot for you.
Bring
one out.
Yeah. I can always anywhere. I mean, I'll put my stuff against pretty much anything, and this drop ripple, like somebody mentioned a while ago, doing a dredge. Yep. It's in my mind. I'm working hard on it, but it will be a crash box, and it will be having to probably change the grizzly bar to make it work different, because my stuff is completely butt backwards from what it's supposed to be. Y'all know that. My rocks don't go out the backside; they go out the other side. It's kind of crazy. So
now you have an invite to take it up to Colorado to Chad.
I'd be glad to get up that way if I can make it that way. That's for sure. I drive through that way going to California every now and then.
We've got a spot that we're going to be digging through the winter. We got a spot that we're going to be high banking as much as we can through the winter, and we've got enough water as long as it's not freezing. I'd love to see it.
Well, you can run it as a recirc, and it's really, really good as a recirc. If you can do it from tub to tub and kind of clean your water, you can go a long way with this thing. The big, either this little machine or the big one, both do that. I mean, it just gives you what you want. You know that. I've got several people on here that's bought my stuff. Thanks to all of them, and we're just trying to put out a good, solid product. And I got a feeling if you look at the stuff, get back in touch with me. I'll try to work something out for you.
Now, is there any kind of coupon code for tonight or anything?
No, I hadn't put one out. Thought of one tonight. What should I do?
Oh, I don't know. I'm kind of fond to Flash 79.
Yeah.
That's what you had last time. Make it Flash AU.
Yeah. Why don't we? Y'all give me a couple seconds to go to the site, and I'll put it on. It'll be there. But if anybody's interested, instead of $375, I'm gonna give you the gold show price, which is $350, and that'll cut $25 off and should cover the shipping to get you one of them. How about that?
Okay, what coupon code is that now?
let's do Ed 25. How about that?
What was that?
They can remember that, can't they?
What was that?
Ed 25. You remember that one?
Ed 25?
Yes, sir.
Ed 25. Okay, I just typed that out in the room.
Okay, everybody, get your kids out of the room.
I'm getting out of here and I'll go program it. I'll post on the thing when I get it done, guys.
All right. Thanks, Spike.
Appreciate you all, guys. Appreciate you all the time. Thank you a lot. I'll see y'all at the Gold Show.
Yeah.
All right.
See you in October.
See you there.
Later, man.
Later. All right, everybody, get your kids out of the room.
we have Prospector Josh from Rad Adventures, Rich Ass Dirt. Chad, meet Josh. Josh, meet Chad.
How's it going?
Hello, Chad. Nice to meet you. Thanks for the introduction, Ed. And you got it right, finally. That was
finally, yeah.
Hey, I had to call. You have another cool ass celebrity that was actually one of my favorites on that show. I like that show, Chad, by the way, and you were my favorite because you were the Dredger, of course. So I got my list.
I gotta be honest. It still humbles me to hear people say things like that.
Yeah, man. Oh yeah. It must be humble.
Thank you for that.
But here's some more humbling shit for you. I got a gold. Get your kids. Gold prospecting celebrity list right here. See, Chad, you're not on video, are you?
No, he's not.
I'm not at the moment.
So you can't.
We're trying to work it out.
Well, it's too late now, brother. But you're on my list. And it goes Sluice Goose, Mad Jack, Jeff Williams, Adam, California Gold Rush, Pioneer Polly, Chris Bogus, Ed, Jesse Dano, Jesse, shout out. You love this shout out.
See what he's got to put up with.
See what I got to put up with? I got to put up with this all the time. Do you see my pretty rocks?
Yeah, I saw your rocks all day long. So I got Tim Draper, and now you, brother, Mr. Chad Watkins. You made the second page.
I appreciate it. And find me on Facebook because I'm easy to find, and I'll usually get back to you pretty quick.
I'll do what I can. I try to stay away from that creepy guy Zuckerberg. So.
Yeah, but it's
well, I don't friend him.
It's a good way to communicate outside.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of all the social media mayhem, it's a great way to communicate.
Yeah, it is. Unfortunately, it's the only way right now. But oh well, things may change. I actually have questions for you. I never have questions for the guests. I usually just talk about myself.
Yes, you do.
I'm all ears.
All right. You mentioned earlier about prospecting's boring to watch. Can you explain yourself on that? A little more deeply on that? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joshing your brother.
We would have 3 and 4 producers following us around, watching every single move we made from the time we crawled out of our tents in the morning till we went to sleep at night, and then you'd get up to pee in the middle of the night, and they would be there with a camera on you.
Oh, they're creepy.
They're trying to pull a TV show out of 8 guys with staring at the ground, going, huh? And we don't have a lot to say when. You just don't have a lot to say when you're prospecting, and my philosophy has always been, when I'm working, it's shut up and dig. So my face is down and I'm doing what I'm doing, but then you've got to stop and say, oh, this rock looked a little different than the 500 other around it, so I got to pick it up and look at it and go, oh, it's just another rock. Throw it aside.
Yeah.
As the joke goes, we call them Indian sex stones.
These producers, they just don't understand. They don't. They don't.
Well, they do. They understand their part, and their part is to try to catch as much drama or make as much drama or show as much drama, because that's what sells. Let's face it, that's what sells on TV.
They've got to make a show. They've got to make a story out of everything that they film, and when you've got cameras on you all day long, they're gonna grab onto the weirdest, most obscure little thing that you say, and then they're gonna dig on that. And they're gonna build a storyline around it. And you're gonna go, "What the hell just happened?"
That sounds like our buddy Ed. He'll spend all day setting up, videoing, this, that, and hey, Jess, go set up the camera here, take a video of this, do this. Then you get, when he finally does edit, you get this, where the hell did that come from? I don't remember that.
Yeah.
But it gets the show out, so that's what counts.
But and watching back now, because occasionally I'll watch the show, and it's still crazy watching myself on the show, going, huh, and seeing what and how they edited things together, and honestly, just for me, it's more of a scrapbook looking back at places that I got to spend time.
Right.
And I've got 3,000 pictures on my computer that you go through it, and it's still amazing to me that I got to spend 2 summers there, 8 months. That first season we hiked close to 300 miles, and I'm not a hiker. I'm not designed and built for it. I was in the Army. I walked, and
you're built to float on water.
Yeah, these younger guys are much better shape than I am, and long legs, but prospecting, you move slow and you look and you watch and listen, and I learned as much when we were in town talking to the locals, and that's one of the things that kind of pointed us to the ruby deposit. And I really can't get so much into that, but it was just a lot of talking to locals and people that knew where, what minerals were being found. And that kind of pointed us in the direction of the mineral deposit that, where we found the rubies down in Fisconacet, which is just absolutely stunning, beautiful area. And, if you have the means to go to Greenland as a tourist, it's ridiculously expensive, but my God, it is so worth going. You will not find a more pristine, untouched place in the world. I stood on a spot where Inuit and Vikings both stood. A soapstone quarry where I touched Viking ruins. It was absolutely amazing. There was less ice and snow there when Eric the Red landed in Greenland than there is now.
Eric the Red?
Yes.
He sounds like a badass.
Well, yeah, but not Josh the Red. Eric.
Oh, well, I'm probably related.
I could dye my beard and I could be Chad the Red.
Yeah. Hell, I could be Jesse the Red. Well, yeah, I was going to ask you about the glacier situation up there. Now, you just said something too. There was actually less ice up there when the Vikings were there than there is now.
Yes, they were settling and farming there.
I bet that would have been cool to see some Viking ruins.
There was a lot of stories that we heard while we were there, and the people have been traveling through there for forever, and it truly, for hunting and fishing and if you're into the whale watching, and just so many amazing things there to see.
Speaking of whale watching, if you want to make prospecting more exciting, you should do it next to like nudist areas. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if there's gold or not. Just act like you're panning for gold. So just
I'll get
that will
myself
make
a detector.
yeah,
head
that'll
down
make
to
your
some
gold
of the-
prospecting more exciting. So
The Miami beaches.
Miami.
Yeah, okay. Why not?
Reminds me of a spot off the Salton River in Washington State.
I've heard a lot of great things and read a lot of stories over the years about the gold in Washington State, and have not had a chance to get there to prospect yet.
Besides gold, there's platinum, silver, beautiful garnets and other crystals. Should get there sometime. You've been to Montana, you're close.
Yeah, I had a truly unique opportunity in Urbana, or in Montana, and met a really great guy there that I think has since passed away, but he owned thousands of acres of gold mine, and truly really unique looking gold that we found there. But as I travel around, I usually send out a message and let people know that I'm heading to an area, because I'd love to get gold, even just a little bit wherever I go. But Washington would be fun.
Hey, you're in Colorado, right?
Yes.
Yes, my whole family has just moved up to Colorado. Like everyone's moving out of California, except for Adam. Adam's coming in California.
We've got lots of jokes about Californians moving to Colorado.
They have those in Washington too. So.
But honestly, if anybody ever makes it out this way, if look me up, and if I'm available around digging, I'm always happy to go out and meet people on the creeks.
Nice.
So what do you do for a living?
Right now, my wife and I are running a veterinary clinic. She's a veterinarian.
Okay.
And not far from our house, we've got a new hospital that we've opened up. It's been open just a little over a year now. So I'm helping out there. I spend a lot of time moving our son back and forth to school and doing all the things that he needs to do. And right now, just sneaking and prospecting when and where I can.
That's life.
Cool.
Yep. Sneak it in when you can. Yeah. Hey, Chad, did you? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We got a good spot, and we got a good hole going, and I've got a good 5 years worth of digging just on this hole. Once we get down and start getting into the bedrock where we're at, and then moving upstream, it's gonna be a really, really good spot for us. There's no doubt in my mind about it.
Tell us more.
Like longitude and latitude. No.
It's up on No Tell 'em Creek.
Honestly, if you come out to Colorado, I can walk you right to the spot.
Are you in southern Colorado, mid, northern?
We're right in the kind of middle, considered the the Front Range. If you Google where I live, it's Bailey, Colorado. I live about 10 miles off the highway way back in, and then where I'm digging is near Central City and Blackhawk, Colorado. Two huge gold areas.
Love it there.
And not just gold. There's silver. There's copper. There's lots of gems, crystals. Anything you want to look for in the area. We've got spots, some of them literally in my backyard. And it's kind of a prospector's dream.
Yeah, that whole area is like that, up in the mountains like that, right in that Front Range. It's just, when I was there, everywhere you went, there was people panning, and it was terrible because I wasn't even into it at that time. I mean, there was gold all around me, and it just didn't affect me, even when I saw it.
I mean, even driving to and from the claims and stuff up and down the creeks, I see people working and reworking areas, places that I prospected 15 or 20 years ago. And, part of my brain wants to stop and pull over and say, hey, you need to move from that spot and you need to go over there. And the other part of me is like, yeah, I got to get up and start digging myself. So. And I've got a handful of spots just like the one I'm in now that I've prospected over the years where I know there's good gold sitting. But, for whatever reason, I'm in the spot I'm in now, and those spots will still be there because I keep an eye on them. People aren't looking at them.
Well,
it's the little things. Even if you go places like, you go look up near Fairplay, you go up Mosquito Gulch, one of the richest parts of the state, some of the biggest gold mines. The terrain is extremely high. You've got a really limited season up there unless you're working underground. But there is still some incredibly rich surface deposits. But the glaciers pushed everything out into the lateral moraine, so it's not in the creeks. And there's places in Mosquito Creek where I've been 10, 15 feet down, and I've seen nothing. And you get up in the lateral moraine and start working that stuff, and then suddenly there's the gold. So, it all comes back to just a lot of reading and research and, just getting dirty here and there.
I'm getting good notes. I'm getting good notes researching you.
What's that?
I'm getting good notes researching you. Bailey, Colorado, Central Colorado, Mosquito Gulch. I got a lot of notes going here.
He's a note taker.
Like I said, and my wife will complain about it, but I'm easy to get a hold of online. So shoot me a message anytime. And I'm kind of a funny side story. We've got a local guy here that had to write a book. He got commissioned by his publisher to write a book about local modern gold mining. And it's called Gold, Madness, Murder, and Mayhem in the Colorado Rockies. And myself and several good friends around the area all have chapters in this book. And it was just kind of funny to be written into Colorado gold mining history.
That's cool.
In kind of a modern sense. And I know you can find it on Amazon. But the author's name is Ian. I'll spell it out. It's IAN, and his last name is NELIGH. And he's got a few books out there on gold mining and Colorado history, and used to be a reporter in Clear Creek County. But to have somebody spend a few hours talking to you about what you do, and then suddenly you've got a chapter in a book, it's kind of funny. And again, in a weird way, it's kind of humbling.
That means you got good knowledge.
Right. What he was looking for.
And again, I wish I had it all, because we wouldn't be having this conversation. I'd be sitting on an island somewhere.
All right. Did you mention you used to have your own tour? You did your own tours before you got picked up by.
When I decided to start doing this stuff full time, I worked with Jesse over at Vic's Gold Panning, and we kind of teamed up over there for 2 summers. And I would teach people how to dredge and pan and high bank and prospect and, you know, everything that I'd learned up to that point. And then I had an opportunity to move up into South Park, a little closer to my house, and we've got some property in the area. So I prospected and found a spot in Fairplay and started learning about the geology there, and had my own pay-to-dig sites, one in Fairplay and then one up in Alma, which is not far from Fairplay. If you know, if you watch Gold Rush, the Hoffmans were kind of between the two towns this last couple seasons.
Now, are you still doing your little thing? Your pay to play? Pay to dig?
I'm not. On occasion,
I would think it would have skyrocketed. Your business would have been better after the show, you know?
Well, the couple of seasons that I spent on the show kind of killed my business because I was gone. And there were a few other people kind of filled in the gaps, and I still do some guiding here and there, and then, you know, I'll take people to where I'm digging, but it's kind of you know, I kind of pick and choose right now, and it's all just really based on time and time of the year. But I still do it. I love teaching people.
Hey, Shane, I got a couple questions here for you. One from, well, actually two of them from Patrick Truesdale. He wants to know, can you ask him why Clear Creek below Coors has been bone dry?
I was gonna ask that here pretty quick, Jess.
Before you guys answer that, I'm gonna take off. I gotta go. Nice to meet you, Chad.
You too. Hey, find me online. Let's chat.
I will, for sure, brother.
Get you my contact info.
Have
Take
a
care,
good
guys.
one, Josh.
So Patrick wants to know why Clear Creek is bone dry below Coors. Do you have any idea?
For gold, as far as I know.
No. He says that Clear Creek below Coors is bone dry. It has been bone dry.
I haven't driven by there, but as far as I know, the water's still flowing.
So
it's been a drier year, but I don't think Clear Creek itself is dry. I'll be down that direction here in the next couple days. I can take a look, but I personally know from Clear Creek all the way from, whether you're talking North Clear Creek and where I'm digging now to the main feed, all the way down through where it feeds into Confluence Park, you can find gold up and down that creek all the way into Nebraska and Kansas. But if the river's dry right now, I couldn't tell you why. I don't think it is. I know the water's still running.
Well, he says it's bone dry below the Coors plant or Coors.
Coors
I don't know.
is taking it all.
Right.
That I'll have to take a look at, because I haven't heard anything about the water being completely gone. Coors
Our moderator, Mr. Lodak. Mr. Lodak says Josh can answer that. He's been drinking all the Coors.
Because Coors gets all their water from the western slope. It's not even from this side anymore.
Oh no. So how do they get the piping? He said something about, he also said something about tunnel 1 or 2 was full. Oh, tunnel 1 and 2 have had water, but not below Coors. I wonder if they diverted it somewhere.
It's possible, but at this point, I don't know. But I know with the Colorado water rights and water laws, which are absolutely insane, I would be surprised if that water was diverted somewhere, because water rights in Colorado are more valuable than gold.
Right.
It's crazy. There are entire law practices based on nothing but water.
Wow.
It is nutty. There are mines in South Park that I know of that have enough water flow coming out of them that people have filed on the water rights and are selling that water downstream. And it's one of those things that over the years has affected me, especially in South Park, when I can't do, when I can't mine if I'm using water.
Crazy.
I know the Hoffman crew had to buy a shit ton of water rights to keep running through the summers.
So they had to actually buy the water rights?
Yeah, and it's only well, not even buy, just lease, and it was just surface rights. So water that they were pumping, in to run their sluice, and then that had to go right back in. But once the calls go downstream, we've got ranches and ranchers up here that have to pay attention to that stuff daily. It is crazy.
Wow.
You realize it's almost 11 o'clock, Ed? We're having so much fun.
It's only 8:45 here.
Yeah.
I just opened up a bottle of Pendleton that a buddy left for me.
Cool. Bottoms up.
I don't know if you're into whiskey at all or not, but I am.
Well, hey, we're all into something, aren't we?
But
so you probably need to get a commercial in here, don't you think?
Actually, I do. Let me take another commercial break. It's really quick. This one's an audio one, so you'll still have to look at us. So don't go away. We'll be right back with Chad Watkins from Ice Cold Gold after a word from one of our sponsors.
Hey, this is Michael from iPanForGold.com. I love to receive emails and photos of the gold my friends recover from our painter, and they're not too shy to tell me about it either. Just check out some of the reviews, photos, and even videos that they have posted on our Facebook page. In fact, here are some of my not-so-shy friends now.
I'm Aaron, and I pan for gold.
I'm Caleb, and I pan for gold.
I'm Ed Martin, and I pan for gold.
I'm Erica, and I pan for gold.
I'm James, and I pan for gold.
I'm Jaren, and I pan for gold.
I am John, and I pan for gold.
I'm Mark, and I pan for gold.
I'm Tony, and I pan for gold.
This is Rob from Nashville, and I pan for gold.
Be sure and check our Facebook page and website for the latest offers, blog articles, and videos. What's in your pan? I hope it's pay dirt from iPanForGold.com.
All right. Now,
are we back?
Yeah, we're back. Jesse's showing his rocks off again.
Get my rocks off, man. I like pretty rocks. We just got some rocks from Ontario, from a gold mine, a Richardson gold mine. We got some of their ore pile. Beautiful stuff.
So I got a funny story. Some friends of mine, a couple of years ago, they were down in Telluride, and you could tour the mine down there. And it's still an extremely rich mine, but they've got big boxes of, you can buy the ore, for pennies sometimes. few
Right.
bucks here and there. So they've got a big kiln in their garage. They went down and bought a bunch of the ore from Telluride, put it in their oven and heated it up. And as you know, with Telluride ore, you have to heat it up to get that gold to precipitate. And they
No,
made
I don't know
mint.
that, but I'm gonna be learning that.
So they took that Telluride ore that they were bringing out of there, put it in their oven, cooked it, and they've got it's a big furnace, but they cooked it and got that gold to precipitate back out, and they've got some really amazing specimens.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Too bad you can't see what I'm showing them.
Well, his son's watching, so.
Oh yeah, he is. Nobody wants to look at my ugly mug, so I'll throw some rocks up there.
I got to go check, but I think my son's falling asleep.
Well, you can watch it over again later.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So we got this comes from the Richardson mine in El Dorado, Ontario. Very highly mineralized. Lots of gold and silver and copper. Well, not so much in these samples, but and rare earth metals. So I can't wait.
Rare earth is kind of the new gold rush.
Right. That's what I've been hearing, and she happens to have a lot of that stuff up there. She wants us to come up there, spend some time up there and look at her, go through her ore piles.
Ontario's, it's an amazing spot. I have not spent a ton of time up there, but I know several people that have claims in the area.
Right.
And it's mostly gems and crystals and all that good stuff. And those are people that have spent, as much time, as many years at learning, their craft that I have. Did I lose you?
No, we're listening.
Oh. And regardless of, what people prospect before, for, there's people in San Francisco that comb the shores for, the sea glass and stuff that, that's been tumbling out there since, the 1700s and some, since that area was settled, especially San Francisco. And, or if you're out looking for truffles or, mushrooms, whatever people hunt for, it's prospecting of a different kind. And you listen to those people and talk and see what they're looking for and how they're looking at the ground. And it always adds to what you know. And sometimes, it's just a different perspective or just a different angle of, when you're out there with your face on the ground,
right?
What you're looking for.
Yeah, I never really thought about that. Even mushroom hunters are and ginseng hunters. They're all part of the same prospecting family, somewhat. When you think about it.
My digging partner Matt, he's out there. He does a lot of treasure hunting, and we've got a couple of infamous gangs that have run through this area, and some of their treasure caches are still out there.
Right.
One of their last, it's buried in a mine now that nobody will ever see because it's under a ski slope and has been blasted shut. But those caches still exist. And
we just got one of our friends come in, Timothy Draper from Treasures in America. He does a lot of that stuff. looking for
A
treasure.
good friend of mine lives down in Texas. He's been for years hot and heavy on the trail of the CSA treasure, Confederate States of America. If you follow the stories, the James gang supposedly had dropped caches all over the United States, and in a spot not far from my home, there's a well-known ranch, and it's actually part of the school district now. They the James brothers spent a few weeks up in this area with the rancher,
right?
And it's reported that there's a treasure cache in the area. So,
seems to me when we had Timothy on before, I think he might have mentioned something about that treasure. I'm not too sure. I know we did talk about the South treasure, and they were hiding it all over. So.
Well, if you follow the stories, as it goes, there's millions hidden all over the United States that of Confederate gold that they were planning on a second uprising, and that's what all that was there to fund.
Yeah, the Knights of the Golden Circle, their treasures, right?
Yep.
I believe
CSA,
I'm sorry.
The Templars were a little different, and I'm a bit of a geek when it comes to treasure stories, and have been since I was a kid. I live right now, as the crow flies, less than 10 miles where I grew up. I crawled down my first mine shaft. I was 10 years old, and it was 100 feet down, straight down a shaft on a ladder that was at least 100 years old, just to see what was at the bottom of it. So, and the area that I live, I mean, the Reynolds gang was the most infamous of our area, and a lot of their caches have been found over the years, but a lot haven't. And some of the areas that I grew up match a lot of the treasure stories, so you're naturally always out looking. And
right.
You got the stories of Oak Island. The Vikings had settled, on the West Coast and up and down the East Coast all the way to Florida, and they found evidence of that. So, all these treasures are out here. When I was much younger, I spent a lot of time in areas in Colorado, for lack of a better term, as a pot hunter, because I was going to be an archaeologist at one point, but then I realized there's not a lot of money in archaeology, but there is in treasure hunting. So,
I wish I could find it. It doesn't seem to be much this way.
And for me, prospecting anymore, when I had my pay to dig places, a lot of what I spent my time doing was managing people's expectations, because you watch the gold shows, you read books, you find the stories, and you bring people out and you teach them this is how you can find some gold. And then 3 days later, they show back up and they've just spent $3,000 worth of equipment that they don't know what is or don't know how to use, or even have a place to use it.
Right.
So a lot of what I do was managing those people's expectations. And yeah, you can have a lot of fun at it. We all do. But for me, it's come down to the point of me proving to myself that these areas that I'm prospecting, that the gold is there, or whatever it is that I'm looking for. And if that makes sense, finding the gold is when you finally get into a good pay streak, that's great, that's the payoff. But the bigger payoff for me is going, yes, I was right. I knew it was here. I just proved it was here.
Right.
That's kind of that's kind of why I'm back at the spot that I'm at now. You know, it's a spot that I really looked at, you know, a lot of years ago, and now I have a chance to get in there and, you know, with some good friends, and let's dig some gold out of the ground because I know it's here. And
Yeah,
and
that's
just have some
Timothy said the same thing. He says, I started out the same way, wanted to get into archaeology. Then I ended up putting more towards anthropology and history.
And
When I
then
was-
led
when I was
into
in high school,
treasury.
I spent a couple of years as an intern at the Colorado History Museum, which it truly was amazing. But the other thing that I learned was you're not going to get rich as an archaeologist. You're gonna prove a lot of things, but for me the lure, you know, and unfortunately about that same time the Indiana Jones movie first came out, and you know, can get the treasure bug, and at that point you kind of make a decision. So it, you know, you go one way or the other.
Right. Do I want to be Jeff Williams or Indiana Jones? Well, actually, Jeff Williams actually wound up being Jeff Williams, Gold Hunter, and Indiana Jones.
And that's the perfect combination. I would love to be there.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know, I've had my Indiana Jones moments prospecting over the years, but you know, never quite the super extremes. I've had a drift mine near Idaho Springs. It literally was caving in behind me as I'm running out of it.
Oh man.
I had no business being in that mine. It was private property. I was much younger. I was much younger at the time. But, you know, it's one of those things that, you know, you take from what that experience is and you walk away and go, yeah, I really shouldn't be in those kind of mines.
Won't do that again.
I wish I could say that.
I have a question about snakes from a California gentleman in the room, CSI Deacon. Just off the Salmon River, up from Willow Creek, the tailing piles are guarded by hundreds of rattlesnakes and have made a colony inside the tailing piles. Do you ever have to deal with snakes?
In southern Colorado, yes. Mostly when I was in the Army, but most of the snakes where we're out in the Rocky Mountains are garter snakes until you start getting south into the Sangre de Cristos, which I've spent a little time in. Then you start dealing with the rattlesnakes, and I just stay away from them. I would more refer to the Feldman brothers, who have their claims in Arizona in their mines. They deal with snakes, I'm sure, far more than I do.
Oh yeah.
The worst thing I
more
have
snakes
to deal with are bats.
Bats? Oh yeah.
And they don't bother me much.
No,
they're just like cute. The ones that we have here are just cute little mice with wings.
They're just out there trying to get a skeeter to munch on.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, up in the Rockies, we just don't have to deal with snakes. It just stays too cold.
It sounds like the west side of the Cascades in Washington. You won't get any rattlesnakes or anything till you're on the eastern side of the Cascades. And here we just have to mess with water snakes.
Yep. Oh, honestly, it was about a year ago. A year ago now. Fortunately, I was able to, a friend of mine, when the last hurricane blew in, I ended up grabbing my boat and heading down to Texas and helping out with the Cajun Navy, and spent a couple of weeks down in Texas. And those snakes were everywhere. It was crazy.
Were you down around Houston?
What's that?
Were you down around Houston?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were everywhere.
That was
all the way up to Vidor, Texas, with our boat, and everybody else that was down there helping out. I actually brought back a dog that I kept. He was a puppy then. He's just a little over a year now, but we brought him back from the hurricane and his litter mates.
Oh, that was cool. Come on.
What's wrong, Jesse?
I don't know.
Oh, because you
But-
said
I don't know.
just,
Okay.
just
we back
come
in my
on.
back now.
You guys had asked me earlier if I'd consider a show ever again, and at one point, and it didn't come to fruition, but I was talking to a production company, and I just didn't have the money or the time to put the sizzle together about putting together a different kind of prospecting show, where I was going to travel around the country and talk to people from all areas, whether there were people hunt mushrooms and people hunt diamonds in Arkansas. There's people that hunt Confederate treasure, or whether you're working a gold mine, or spend part of the time just talking about the process and how people are doing what they're doing. But even deeper, and the thing that's always interested me, is why are you doing that? What is really driving you to do what you're doing? Whether you're looking for sea glass or mushrooms, or diving off the coast for Spanish galleon treasure, it doesn't matter what you're looking for. What's that one thing that keeps you going? And whether you're a prospector or a miner,
Jesse.
whatever drives you, and it's kind of getting into that more human story, that deeper area. What pushes us to spend thousands and thousands of dollars in pursuit of whatever it is we're chasing?
I think that's all in our genes. I think that's just our natural curiosity. I mean, you go down the road, you'll wonder what's in that bag sitting on the side of the road.
Yeah.
What's in that box sitting on the side of the road?
I pulled
just
over
natural.
yesterday to pick up a hammer.
Yeah.
I was taking my son to school, and I pulled off on the side of the road. I saw something. I was like, "Ooh, what's that?"
What is that?
A little
right?
hammer.
Yeah.
Oh, goody.
I mean, you're not gonna go down the road and pass up a purse. You're gonna stop. You're gonna go down the road and you're gonna see a box that looks like it's still closed. It's not too damaged. It might be worth stopping and looking. So what?
The biggest classic example is Oak Island.
Right.
I think and this is me personally, and honestly, I don't have TV anymore. I cut the cable years ago. After I got fired from the show, I turned off my TV. I've got Hulu, I've got Amazon.
Right.
That's about it. But, growing up, you read the stories about Oak Island and the pirate treasure that was there. And, everybody wants to dig up a pirate treasure.
Yeah, who doesn't?
Over the years, doing my own research and reading, and you pick up things here. I've got my own, ideas on what the money pit was, and I just don't think there's any treasure there. That's just me.
Well, it's not just you. There are other people that think the same way. There's nothing, and it's not what they're saying either.
I think it was a pitch pit. Honestly, I think they were burning pitch for the masts. That said, there very well could have been treasure on the island. I think at one point it was found long ago and disappeared. And if it disappeared, then the people did it right. And I can give you the greatest example. And I'd kind of be calling out a friend of mine, but if you study Idaho, this you'll understand this. So the water wheel in Idaho Springs.
Yep.
Was it Charlie Taylor?
Oh, I don't know people.
Charlie Taylor was the guy that had the original water wheel, and it wasn't right there in Idaho Springs. It was up a gulch behind it.
Okay.
He was a miner and a prospector, and he used to travel back to Arizona every year. And his final year, he was heading back to Colorado for the spring, didn't make it, died on the trail. Well, every year he would cache his stuff before he left for Arizona up in, some cliffs someplace. Good friend of mine was living in the cabin on the site where the original water wheel was, and it was his cabin. Well, he was climbing up the cliffside to adjust his TV antenna one day and noticed a bunch of rocks leaning up in the cliff face that they shouldn't be. Well, he pulls those rocks away, and there's several rifles, there's gunpowder, there's tobacco, there's food. Well, this was Taylor's cache.
Yeah, sounds like it.
He started telling everybody around town that he'd found it and started showing it around. Well, the downside of that, he was renting the property that he was on. So then it became a dispute. A lot of that stuff ended up in the Argo Mill on display. The rifles and that kind of thing. So,
right.
If you're out there treasure hunting and prospecting, when you really do find something good, how much are you going to really say? Because, did somebody come up and say, oh, well, there was an insurance claim on this 100 years ago. So the insurance company comes forward and suddenly says, hey, guess what?
That's ours.
What was it? What was that ship down in Florida, the North America, the one that went down with all the gold on it, that the insurance companies made all the claims on when they brought all that gold back off it?
The Tosha?
Anatosha?
No, not the Atosha.
No.
It was a steamship that was coming from California to New York, went down.
Oh, wait.
And it's like the North America, the American. I can't remember off the top of my head. But when those guys found the ship and all the gold that was on it, the insurance companies that originally had paid claims on it said that's ours. And they ended up getting a piece of that treasure, right or not. It depends on your point of view. As you find a treasure cache, how vocal are you about it? So how many caches over the years have been found where people just kind of
How many people? Yeah, how many people do I want to let know? Right. Or are you too excited to not say anything? I mean, oh my gosh, I just found 5 gold bars. What am I going to do? Who am I going to tell? Oh, I can't tell him. He'll blab. Can't tell her. She'll take it all.
Well,
so yeah, that can be a problem.
Or depending where you're at. Are you on private property? Well, you
right.
Split that
Oh
with
yeah,
owner.
right. Oh,
or does the property owner go, oh, that's mine because it's on my property?
Right.
Well, that's why if you're on private property mining or prospecting or treasure hunting, you've got to let the property owners know, and you get something in writing and say, look,
right.
If I find something, here's our agreement, whatever it is.
Well, it's always a good thing to, even when you're like leasing or getting permission to metal detect any of that stuff like we have to do around here because we don't deal with BLM land. It's all private property, so we got to get permission. So yeah, that's something that if you're going to do a permission slip and you want to be fair or not be fair, whichever way you go, you got to have something in writing. Best.
I've had partners over the years on claims that they still owe me. I've dredged for entire seasons, and I've never seen a bit of the gold. And as a matter of fact, I've given, because they needed to show, wanted to show somebody part of the collection. There was a nugget that was really, really important to me because it was a pea-sized nugget that I found over the exact hole where I started dredging with Charlie Blanchard all those years ago, and it was kind of a finishing out where he started digging,
right?
And kind of where I learned, and it wasn't a particularly valuable nugget, but the intrinsic value to me, it was
more. Yeah, there was more sentimental value. It was more valuable than the gold itself.
I'm in all likelihood, I would be surprised if I ever saw that nugget again. But I would love to have it. But again, it was a almost perfectly round pea-sized nugget. It was beautiful. But the day that I found it and where I found it, and even the guy I found it with, a good friend of mine, Harold, who's in Arizona now, but he was there the first year that I started prospecting, and we've since been friends. He was there, so it was really just it was one of those pieces that I hated to lose. And
I hate to lose any gold.
No doubt.
It is, but it's on them now. It's not on me. I held it. I had it. I found it. It was one of those days that. Yeah. And it was honestly, it was the exact spot that I ever had my first 1 ounce day, and then it was 2 days later that the river came up and wiped us out.
Well, our chat room seems to be enjoying you tonight.
Yeah.
We've had some really good compliments. Too bad you're not watching the chat room.
I wish I could. I don't have a computer right now, so.
But yeah, some of the guys are going, I just like coins. You just melt them down, make your own bars. And like I told Ed earlier today, because over the weekend I won a bag of pay dirt from Felix Pay Dirt, right? And Ed goes, hey, if there's a nugget, you're gonna split it. I said, if there's a nugget, you'll never know about it.
That's right. Wouldn't expect less from you.
Most of the gold I've got left, it's a small display box, and it has a picture of old Charlie Blanchard, my mentor, in it, sitting on the creek next to his old sluice box, and it was an old crash box that he'd built. And every one of the flakes or little nuggets that I've got in the display box, I can look at and tell you the day, what I was thinking about, every little detail when I found that flake or nugget, and it's kind of crazy. And I'm pretty sure everybody listening to.
Yeah, I'm sure we could all do that. I'm sure we can all do that, and we're all that crazy to be able to do that too. Oh, I know what you mean, because I can go into my vial that I've got with a little bit of gold that I've got in there, and I can still find my first piece of gold. It's still there.
I just, this summer I celebrated my 49th summer. So, and when I got into this, it was before I was 18, 19-ish, maybe 20. But I've been at this a while.
Yeah.
So, and then, the experiences over the years and what started out as a hobby then as a full-time job, and then onto the TV show. And honestly, getting fired from the show kind of put me off of prospecting for a couple of years. It was hard to get back into, but it wasn't because of the show itself. It was more because of one person involved with the show, if I can just kind of leave it at that.
Oh, the drama.
So it's been, yeah, and the executive producer, that's all I'll say about that. But the experience of the show, honestly, if somebody showed up tomorrow and said, "Hey, let's do this again," I would be right there.
Right.
Because honestly, getting the chance to go to someplace like Greenland and prospect, where very few people have actually do what I do.
Oh, that's
truly
oh, yeah.
amazing.
Oh, that definitely. What an opportunity, what an experience to have like that. I mean, that's hell. I just want to go to Ontario. Just that would be an experience for me.
And to kind of jump back, even before I went there, a good friend of mine who was a lifelong miner, hard rock miner, Kevin, who died in his mine up near Alma. And I took his ashes with me to Greenland and was able to spread them there.
Oh,
he was
cool.
an amazing.
Did they show that?
He would have. So, kind of the backstory when I had my pay to dig site and was doing all my stuff up there, I met a guy named Kevin. He was a lifelong hard rock miner, and if you Google Colorado rhodochrosite, there was a mine called the Sweet Home, and that's where all the big famous stuff came out of. Kevin had a mine near the Sweet Home, and the rhodochrosite that he was digging out was proving out to be much better than anything the Sweet Home proved. He sold that mine, and that was I'll think of the name of it in a minute. But anyway, he sold that mine to finance a mine across the valley, which is gold and silver, which is still held by his sister. That last summer, I'd held specimens that he brought to me that were running, 19 and 20 ounces of gold to the ton. It was beautiful specimen in this mine. It was amazing. And then when the gold pinched out, there was even more silver.
Wow.
And that winter, he was up shoring up the mine for production that following year, and nobody had heard from him for a few days, and his brother went up and found him, and he was caught kind of in a cave-in and pinned in, and he passed away. So it was a few weeks before they could get him out, but it was a matter of moving a few boulders. That's all here and there. But his sister sent me with some of his ashes to Greenland, and in the final episode of season 1, I was out just kind of drifting around the fjord and near an iceberg, talking to his mom, or talking about my mom who'd passed away the previous year as well, and Kevin. And as I'm sprinkling his ashes into the fjord and talking about this whole experience and bringing him with me, this iceberg calved and flipped over. It was absolutely surreal, and it was just one of those weird moments that you never get back.
Right.
And if I'm watching it on TV, I still get emotional watching it. And unfortunately, because of the editing, they missed all the stuff I was talking about my mom and.
Right, of course, editing.
But for me, I know what I was talking about. And when I spread Kevin's ashes, I'd also dropped. I had a couple of rubies that I'd put in with his ashes and spread as well at the same time from the deposit.
Cool.
So to be able to do something in your life that whether people know about it or not, those little moments that you go, Jesus, this is, it's surreal.
Right. Well, I really hate doing this because we've got a really interesting guest tonight. Great stories, but on our end, it's getting late. It's almost 11:30, and I think we're gonna need to call tonight and hope that we can get you back on another night. We can continue this conversation. I've enjoyed myself. I've been having fun listening to your stories, and so is the chat room. But it is getting late for us. We're going on 11:30 here. I know it's not too bad there. You're still raring to go, and I understand that.
Well, let's plan a time. We'll get the video thing and everything planned out so I can actually see what's going on Facebook at the same time. And I'm happy to talk anytime you guys want to get together.
Yeah, and this time we'll work more on getting us straightened up on Skype. So, and would love to have you on again, Chad, here in a couple months or whatever.
Right.
Whatever you guys, whatever works out for you guys.
Hold of me. I tell you what, you wanna be here on the 8th of October. When is that right? The 8th?
9th.
Timothy Draper?
9th.
Or 9th, I'm sorry. On the 9th, when Timothy Draper, Adventures in America, will be on here. And he'll be talking about what you were just talking about. A lot of we got him and his whole crew coming on that night. So that should be a good conversation, something you might want to listen to and call in and talk to him. He was in tonight. He was
Treasures in America was the handle in the chat, but they'll probably talk about Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, Hole in the Wall Gang.
I've been on the Sundance Trail.
Cool.
And when you guys see Emily, ask her what happened with me. I was supposed to go. She was supposed to take me up and dive under the ice with her, and then the following season. But ask her what happened about that, because I'd like to know.
Okay. When we're
Chad wants to know why you turned him down. No. Why you stand him up?
I had talked to her several occasions, and then she completely ghosted me. It was crazy. So I'd like to know what happened. I still got her number, so.
You didn't start talking to her politics, did you?
Not at all.
Oh, okay.
I was just going up to Dredge and do what I do.
Oh, okay.
But I've got her number still, so you can ask her yourself.
Okay.
Well, we'll be seeing her next month. We'll be rubbing elbows with her in the painting booth.
Yeah, ask her what happened. I'd like to know.
We'll have to do that, Jesse.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do, Chad. I'll ask her to call you. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if I want to open that can of worms up.
Honestly, ask her to call me, and she can tell me herself, and that would be perfect.
Yeah, I'd rather not get in the middle of that drama, whatever it is.
Yeah, there's no drama. There's no drama there at all. Just tell her that Chad says hey and wants to know what happened.
Okay. I can do that.
Will do.
I can definitely do that.
And on that note,
that way you're not on the hot seat.
Yes, right.
There you go. Thanks again very much for joining us, Chad. I want to thank one of our sponsors for all their support for Take a Vet Prospecting Project, our friends over at prospectinggear.com. Next week, we're going to have Jacob from Chaos Paddlers here on YouTube with us. Pardon me. But until then, next week, same time, same channel. May you always have a flash in your pan.
And you know what he's going to say next.
That's right, Jesse. Maybe one day, too, we'll see you on the river. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Be well.
Good night, Ed.
Good night, Jesse.
Night,
Can't
Ed.
say night
Talk
to
to you guys.
Dano.
Oh, he left already. He just
Take care,
skipped town.
Chad.
You guys know how to get a hold of me.
Yep.
Yes.
Good talking.
You too. Thanks for being on the show tonight. It's been fun. Really appreciate you being here. And we will contact you again, sir.
Yeah, we will.
Anytime you get a hold of Bill, let me know.
All right. Oh, cool. There you go, Ed. Fill all them holes up.
You guys have a good night.
You too. Good night.
Yeah, buddy.
So, I guess it's time to call it quits, huh, for the night?
Credits are running,
Shut up.
Susan